with no contest to the charges in a deal that may result in his being sentenced to probation and minimal prison time on the state charges. People who have been convicted of less heinous crimes may be eligible for an expungement of their criminal record depending on the circumstances. And this week's expungement credit was put on by lawsuits in Cal State Bakersfield and attorneys from this area who volunteer their time and services to help people get started with that process. You have never seen this year, the organizers say more than 300 people showed up to begin a removal of their indiscretion. Also this weekend, a vigil was held for the children that wreck that happened Thursday at the intersection of Harris Road and Summer Street Drive. 23 reports that some people believe that safety measures at the intersection should be changed, and they brought signs to that effect. Police believe that speed was definitely a factor. They are still looking at the drugs.
My glasses.
You were sneaky glasses, have you said?
No, I just, where are they?
Oh, where are your glasses? Hey, Vince called it.
Yeah.
He was at the dinner. Said he tackled his wife.
Did he really? He was one of the few. That's what I'm going to talk about. Have you seen all the videos?
The old man eating salad? Did you see that?
And the journalists stealing wine?
Wow.
Like, really?
But
I would have too. That's what I was going to say. I would have damn sure walked out of it. I would have capped. Yep, I would have capped the ones that were open. Plug that son of a gun. Let's go. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good afternoon to you, wherever you may be, however you may be listening, or however you may be viewing for those subscribing on YouTube. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on a Monday, 27th day of April on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1230. We're streaming live at kernradio.com. Chris Burdick. And a busy one it is. Obviously, we'll tell you all we know about Cole Allen, the 31-year-old from the South Bay, from the Torrance area of Los Angeles. We'll tell you what we know about him later in the program. We'll talk about his sister, who is also incredibly educated, as I'm sure you've heard about her brother, Mr. Allen. The First Lady is calling for Jimmy Kimmel to be summarily fired. We'll play the audio to which she alludes, where he basically says something like she looks like an expected widow. Yeah. Which is just absolutely unforgivable. What if the president had been shot? What if he'd been killed? Would that have been an equal trade, Trump for Kimmel? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Too soon? Too soon. Greg Kerr is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. It was draft day. Draft weekend, I should say, and we'll get Mr. Kerr's thoughts on the draft. I thought the Raiders did exceptionally well, Mr. Burdick. I was extremely happy with our draft. I think the kid, the running back we got out of Arkansas, is a great fit for Genty. He's the fastest running back in the combine. The corners with the one was a steal. Yes, good googly moogly. Now, he's got knee issues, allegedly, and that's why he fell to 4, because he was supposed to be a first rounder. But everybody was so concerned with his knee that this year he fell to 4. But I thought we did extremely, extremely well. In fact, I think a lot of poor teams did well. I thought Cleveland drafted well. Yeah. Yeah. The Jets did well. Cleveland did well. Yeah. And I love that Diego Pavia did not get drafted. Loved it, loved it, loved it. Oh, and I've got I'll play it myself. I've got the audio of him with Gruden where he's like, I'm not getting an agent. I don't need no agent. I don't think it's fair he gets to take 10%. Just as he really is. He really is. You're a 5'9" kid who has an attitude. Remember who this guy is. If you don't remember, Diego Pavia, he's the kid that went to Vandy, and he was one of the he's the only finalist not to be drafted since like 20 years or something crazy. Yeah, something crazy. And he's the kid that said F Indiana after he didn't win the Heisman, and he's got a bunch of just antics. And you're right, he makes Johnny Manziel look like Steve Young. I mean, gee, this guy is just a piece of work. But he is not the biggest loser in the draft, if you ask me. That would be one Peter Wood out of being drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs. Yes. He is a force, and he's probably going to be a good pro, but he has rolled the dice with his career on day one. This knucklehead bought a pair of Maserati SUVs for his mother and his sister to the tune of $1.5 million. Do you know what this fool is making on his rookie contract? $500,000. Now, don't get me wrong. This guy is gifted. He was the 29th pick. So he's very likely to make it and have a 5-6 year career in the NFL, which is long enough to make good money, get a great pension, and go off and teach PE at your high school alma mater. But what happens, as is the case sometimes, he's an absolute bust. Let's say he doesn't get past his rookie contract. Let's say he does 2 or 3 years, let alone gets cut this summer or next year. And he bought them almost $2 million worth of cars, and he's making $500 million. Now, granted, he's got more money than that. I'm not trying to imply that he's trying to get by on $500,000. These kids get signing bonuses, and they make a lot of money, and they probably got some local advertisements and sponsorships, et cetera, et cetera. But that, and who's the kid that the Giants drafted that I love out of Ohio State that I love, the linebacker, Arvell Reese. I didn't, because I sent you a lot of audio today, so I'm going to play it all tomorrow. But he made one of the classic comments. And then there was the parents of another draftee, and we're going to play this all tomorrow. I don't know why I'm tipping my hand, but they asked the parents, how far have you come with your son? And the mama said, we came all the way from I'm sorry. Maybe it's just, that I could understand how that could get misunderstood. How far have you come? Obviously, the reporter was trying to say from junior high to Pop Warner to high school football, how far have you come with your son to finally see him get a paycheck to play football? But that's, they misconceived. They said, how far have you come? Oh, about a 3-hour drive. 3-hour drive out of sight of Baton Rouge. Well, yeah, no, that's what he's making on the rookie salary. He's got much more money than that. But my point is, if it dries up, it's the National Football League. They can cut you at a moment's notice. Just get ensconced in the league. Get your feet wet. Get a locker. Get a locker before you buy a pair of Maseratis. That's all I'm saying. Get assigned a number before you buy almost $2 million in cars. You know what I'm saying? Find an apartment in the state of Missouri. before you spend $2 million on your mama and your sister and their Maseratis. That's all I'm saying. Maybe buy a house. Maybe buy something that can last. You know what I'm saying? I just, there were about 4 or 5. We're going to play the audio tomorrow. There were about 4 or 5 numbskulls. Oh, and then there was the Chiefs guy. Did you see the Chiefs guy that they brought in that doesn't know how to read? I don't know if that was a joke or not, but based on how he read the card, it really sounded like he didn't know how to read. It was just, and then there was the kid that said he didn't know how he felt. Did you see that one? How do you feel? He's like, I don't know how I feel. I don't know how I feel. I'm happy. Just, there were a number of wonderful statements. We'll go over that with Mr. Kerr. Let's go ahead and take our first break of the day. When we come back, we'll get in and tell you all we know about Cole Thomas Allen. And, you know, if you're not watching Reels on Facebook and Instagram, you're really missing out. You really are, because there were 2,000 people in that room, and obviously talking about the Washington Hilton. And what do you figure? 1,500 of them are reporters. So the video, and they all have cameras now. They all have cameras in their purses, in their back pockets, et cetera, et cetera. So the video that I watched over the week, I was up till 2 a.m. last night, just watching video. Caitlin Collins was sitting at a table with Robert Kennedy, and there's video. We've got some audio of Wolf Blitzer, who was sequestered in a bathroom with an armed agent sitting at the door with a long rifle, long gun. I mean, some of the video is incredible. And of course, there are a number of questions that we have to ask that I'm sure you've heard being posed over the weekend. How the hell did they grab J.D. Vance before they grabbed the president? How the hell did they take 5 shots at this guy and not hit him? And I think that the agent that was hit in the chest was hit with friendly fire. I'll explain why I believe that when we come back. And then Mr. Kerr will join us at the bottom of the hour. Kathy Abernathy at 4 o'clock. The Jackson movie, as they say in Hollywood, was boffo box office over the weekend. Although the daughter and Janet aren't really happy with it. We'll talk about that. And I'll give you some information on the shooter's sister. They're an incredibly well-educated family. She's a graduate of Northwestern and is a journalist. And it gets back to the theme of this show, that these families are aware of their family members who are sick in the head, and they're just reluctant to report them. Wait till you hear what this sister had to say about her brother. And the Rebecca Grossman civil trial has begun. This is a personal thing with me because I went to high school with Peter Grossman. He is the heir of the Grossman burn unit. His father started it in Sherman Oaks, and Peter took it over. He married this girl, Rebecca. She was having an affair with a former Dodger, Scott Erickson. They were coming back from an afternoon of day drinking, racing through Westlake, and she hit a couple of kids and killed them. She's doing 15 years. This is the civil trial. And wait till you see what a punk Scott Erickson is. How he left her to just deal with it. It's a horrible story. I'll break into that. And the Dodgers take 2 or 3 from the Cubs, starting their 6-game homestand. The Marlins come into town now, and then on Friday we're out of town. We're headed to St. Louis, and Shohei Ohtani hit his 6th home run to left field. Quick timeout. We're just getting started on a Monday. It's the Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 at AM 1230, and we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Right here at News Talk 96.1 at AM 1230 KERN. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Hope you'll join us on Thursdays when Mr. Turnipseed from Current Tax and our money man, Daniel Petrie from Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors joins us. Daniel comes in and breaks down what's going on with the deficit as we fastly approach $40 trillion in debt. He gives us a weekly update, which is about $29 billion every week. We take a look at silver and gold. But again, you all know what Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors are all about by now. They're all about retirement. And if you're 50 plus, I strongly suggest you start thinking about it and give Daniel a call at 395-9400, 395-9400. His office is located right on the corner of 21st and Oak. Daniel Petrie and the folks with Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors.
Solicitation for advisory services by Daniel Petrie or MPWA Incorporated, DBA, Messmaker, and Petrie Wealth Advisors. The program host is a client and receives compensation and other financial benefits in connection with this advertisement, creating a conflict of interest. Experiences discussed may not be representative of other clients.
In the spirit of NFL Draft Week, schools are on the clock for student health and well-being. The NFL Foundation, powered by Gen Youth and Action for Healthy Kids, is launching NFL Flag in-School Play 60 champions to rally school districts to step up, sign on, and become champions for student health, creating active and supportive environments for youth during the school day and beyond. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell explains.
Flag football is one of the fastest growing and most inclusive sports in the country. When schools bring NFL Flag in school into their programs, it becomes a catalyst, sparking enthusiasm for movement and helping more students reach that goal of 60 active minutes each day.
Here's Gen Youth CEO Anne-Marie Krautheim.
Fewer than 1 in 4 students get the recommended 60 minutes of daily physical activity. Now, with Action for Healthy Kids, we're inviting every school to apply for a free NFL Flag in School kit and join the Play 60 Champions movement.
Schools can apply today at flag.genyouthnow.org.
Hey man, how's business going these days?
Oh, not that good. I'm really struggling to find qualified employees for my business.
Oh, really? Have you tried reaching out to Employers Training Resource? They understand that having the right staff can significantly impact your company.
Really? How can they assist me?
Well, they promoted my jobs, held the recruitment, and pre-screened my job applicants, and they even set up the interviews, all at no cost. And they even offer financial hiring incentives like on-the-job training.
Wow, that sounds great. How do I get this?
Simple. All you have to do is call Employers Training Resource at 661-325-HIRE. That's 661-325-4473. Or visit their website at employerstrainingresource.com.
This Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act Equal Opportunity Employer Program is funded by the U.S. Department of Labor's Employment and Training Administration. For full federal funding disclosure details, visit employerstrainingresource.com/WDD/federal-funding-disclosure. Auxiliary aids and services available upon request.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
I'll fall in love with you.
842-537-6842-KERN. I had a good weekend. Had dinner at Bill Lee's Friday night and then went and watched, and you'll appreciate this, I think, watched 3 episodes of Acolyte.
Acolyte?
As Acolyte?
Star Wars?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I watched that for 3 hours.
Yeah.
It's all right.
All right, that one's not that great.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones, though, you got to get into.
I've got that recorded. I'm still on Boardwalk Empire.
Ah, true.
But she's all into the Star Wars thing. And I just, she's mind blown that I've not passed Star Wars 2.
Okay, hold on now. 2 is in Empire, right?
Yes, that's the last one I've seen. And that just makes her brain scramble.
Best one.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't know. I'm just not that big a fan. But this thing, I'm familiar with the black actress that plays May and her sister on Acolyte.
That one I couldn't tell you.
Oh, you've never seen it? Oh.
I've heard of it. I've heard good things, but I have not watched it myself.
It was interesting. I didn't have a problem with it. It was interesting. But I don't know. Just trying to be that guy. I don't know. Carl Thomas Allen is a very intelligent, educated man. He has a master's degree in computer science. He got his degree from Caltech in mechanical engineering. As I said, his sister is a graduate of Northwestern, which is arguably the best clearly one of the best journalism schools in the country, and we'll talk about that later. There were 5 shots fired at this man as he ran through the lobby of the Hilton Hotel, which, by the way, and I'm sure somebody has pointed this out to you, but it is a bizarre coincidence. This is the very same hotel where Ronald Reagan was shot when I was in college. My freshman year in college, Ronald Reagan was shot by Mr. Hinckley at that hotel, the very same hotel. It was a luncheon that he was leaving. And we don't realize, if you've never seen the documentary on that, where years later they interviewed the doctors, the nurses, everybody involved, the Secret Service agents, we didn't know for years how close Reagan was to dying. I mean, he really was close to dying, and it was the Secret Service agent that saved his life, because they were headed back to the White House, and they didn't even know that he'd been shot. And while they were in the back of the limo, Mr. Reagan coughed up blood, and the Secret Service agent said, "Turn around and get to the nearest hospital." And that saved his life. If they get to the White House, he dies. He dies amongst his own blood. But there are obviously some questions, and there are some folks that actually believe that this was staged. I'm not making that up. I don't have time to go search for the audio, because I don't think I sent that to you.
You did.
I did? I did, staged. You're absolutely right. Here is one person's theory on what happened Saturday night.
Do you think the assassination attempt at the White House Correspondents' Dinner was staged?
No,
Haley, do you?
100%.
What leads you to that conclusion, Haley?
First of all, I'm sorry. This is the President of the United States at a public venue, and you're telling me that we have not secured, checked the entire building, perimeter, etc. He has like the best security in the entire country. Am I wrong? Also, the footage is like laughable. The demeanor of everybody. So they're at a table, and there's a clip of they take JD Vance away before they even address Donald Trump. He's just a sitting duck. Like, that can't be real. And you see all these photos of like some Charlie's Angels poses like out in the hallway, like there's a camera crew there just ready for it. Also, a black man trying to assassinate Donald Trump and he's not killed. That's a lie. That's simply a lie. They're not shooting this man to kill after you've heard a gunshot and he's running through a hotel lobby while there's the president on the other side of the door. It's a lie. I think it's all staged. And then immediately following, we get the, see, I need my bunker. I told you so. It's all bullshit.
Well, we apologize for the expletives. That's insane. I thought that was funny, though. A brother tried to shoot and they didn't kill him. It is bizarre that they took 5 shots at this guy and they didn't hit him. If not concerning, it's certainly troubling. And I think that the agent that was shot by a fellow agent. Here's my theory. I haven't heard anybody say this but me. Maybe somebody else said it and you've heard it, but I haven't heard anybody say it. Here's why I believe this. The agent didn't want to go to the hospital, but they made him go to the hospital. The weapons that this person was carrying, this 31-year-old man was carrying, was a shotgun and a handgun. He didn't fire the handgun. They said that he fired the shotgun. Well, shotgun pellets would not send you to a hospital if it hit you with a bulletproof vest. Not that I've ever been shot with a shotgun with a bulletproof vest, but it's pellets. And I'd be hard-pressed to believe that he wouldn't have been shot in the face with some of those pellets had he been shot with a shotgun. Therefore, I conclude that he was shot by friendly fire. And that happens. I'm not trying to implicate anybody or make it a big deal, but you see what I'm saying? Only the force of a bullet would, make you even have to even think about going to a hospital. You get shot with a shotgun pellet with a bulletproof vest, it scatters. It's not gonna concentrate in one area like a bullet and even bruise you. But there are some questions that have to be asked and answered in this guy's manifesto, if you want to call it that. I don't know why we even give this credibility. He called himself the friendly federal assassin. And this was an intelligent man who just snapped. And later in the program, we're going to talk about the travesty among families that are aware they're dealing with somebody who is mentally unstable, and yet they don't report it. And his sister was an incredibly educated woman, and she was a journalist. If anybody would be sensitive to mental breakdown and the implications that can come with a mental breakdown, you would think it would be a journalist. You would think that this 27-year-old woman at some point has covered a shooting. I know by the time I was 27, I had covered shootings. We've got to get to a point where we're willing to rat out our own family members for their own good and for the good of the safety of our society. You know, we've got to step up and say, look, my brother's not right. I mean, she talks about him going to the range often with his weapons. She was aware that he had weapons. She was aware that he had talked about a plan to end the fascism. And yet, as a journalist, she didn't say a word to anybody, not even to her family. Quick time out. Our good friend and KVAK news director, sports director, Greg Kerr, joins us next.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
News. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. King Charles III and Queen Camilla have made their way to the White House. The British royal couple arrived in the United States on Monday afternoon on a 4-day state visit aimed at celebrating the United States' 250th anniversary. President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump welcomed them to the White House for tea. Iran has offered to end its control over the Strait of Hormuz if the U.S. lifts its blockade and ends the war. That's according to regional officials. The proposal that emerged Monday would delay discussions on Iran's nuclear program. President Trump seems unlikely to accept that offer. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 82 points. The Nasdaq rose 50. The S&P advanced 8. Oil trading near $97 a barrel. More details at srnnews.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Headlines from the KERN newsroom.
I'm Chris Davis. A man who admits that he had thousands of images of child pornography on 13 devices that were searched last July when he was busted is set to be sentenced May 22nd. With a plea deal where Fong Hong Chun pleaded no contest Friday, he may get a minimal sentence of less than a year in prison and probation on the state charges. A vigil was held this weekend for the 3 people killed in a wreck Thursday at Harris Road and Summer Springs Drive. Some of the people who were there brought signs saying that changes need to be made at that intersection for safety's sake. Police believe that speed was a factor in the crash and are still looking into whether drugs or alcohol may have been involved. The average price for gas in California is $5.88 per gallon of regular today, says Gas Buddy. The national average is $4.07. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code WALK5 to get up to a $5 bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code WALK5 to get up to a $5 bonus on your first tank. That's code WALK5 to get up to a $5 bonus on your first tank.
First Look with Scott Cox, morning 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Tuesday edition of the First Look program, we'll be without the services of Lois Henry from sjvwater.org. She has an event to attend. We have the latest from the White House Correspondents' Dinner fiasco, all the state-of-the-art news, traffic, and weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
The NFL draft has concluded, and there's some surprising grades coming in from some surprising teams. So we thought we'd call the Dean of Sports here in Kern County, KBAK Sports Director Greg Kerr. What's really going on, Greg?
I don't know why you're calling me. I only got C's in college. So.
Didn't we all? What'd you think of the draft?
You know, I didn't find myself as invested in this one as I have in past drafts. I watched it. There were certain things. I think the Raiders did great. I think the Browns and the Cowboys actually did very well.
Yep, I agree.
But it didn't grab me like past drafts did. I don't know why. It's not like anybody did anything. It's just maybe it was just lack of quarterbacks at the top. I don't know. Maybe
that's exactly what I was going to suggest. Let's go over the Raider draft. Fernando Mendoza was obvious. What do you think of Trident Stokes?
Well, I'm gonna confess right away here on anybody you ask me about. I'm not an expert on like random guys from random colleges. Oh yeah, I like his arm length, and I saw his 40-yard dash, and Rich Eisen, and I'm not that guy. I will say I trust people know what they're doing, and I think they filled their needs. They had a lot of needs. I think they addressed them, much like Kansas City did in their own way.
Yeah.
Kansas City needed a running back. They went and got Kenneth Walker from Seattle, and then they needed a cornerback and an offensive lineman, and they did both of them in different ways, and they addressed everything they needed. I think the Raiders did the same thing.
Yeah.
I think the Raiders addressed everything they needed. And now it's just a matter did they pick the right people? And that's all you can really ask for is that, if your team, if you're a basketball team and your tallest guy's 6'1", you need somebody taller, right? So if you don't draft a tall guy, you're dumb. And so that's what I look for is people to look at, okay, this is our weakness. We got to go get something here. Now, that doesn't mean don't take the best guy in the draft sometimes. Some guy, like, for instance, I thought the Cowboys killed it at 11 when they got the safety from Ohio State Downs. I thought that they killed it there.
Yeah.
There are times and places where you just take the best athlete available. There are other times where you have to fill needs. And when you're a team like the Raiders and the Browns and the Jets, for that matter, there's a lot of needs. So you just go fill your needs and you fill it with the best guy possible. And I think all three of those teams did that.
Yep, I agree.
So
I don't know these guys name by name either, but there were a couple that stuck out. I was aware of Mike Washington. I thought that was a great pickup by the Raiders to help Genty. What do you think?
I do too, because I think I think he has made it clear that he wants a two running back system.
Yep.
Like a lot of teams have had, including Seattle, which just won a Super Bowl. Bijan Robinson's one of the best running backs in Atlanta in the NFL, and yet he was sharing carries. You know, so that's the way it is in the NFL now because they want to keep as much tread on the tires as possible when it comes to running backs because not many of them really age well after 30. So that's where that goes. I will say this though, I don't know if you caught this, but there was an offensive lineman out of Iowa. He was the 57th pick overall. He's a center going to the Chicago Bears. And by being the 57th pick, Heinz Ketchup, 57, is giving him ketchup for the rest of his life.
Get out of here.
Yes.
That is funny.
Yeah, so ketchup for the rest of his life. I don't know how much that really means. You know, how much
Yeah, no
ketchup you
kidding.
need.
I don't
It's
know.
not like they're giving him diamonds.
Yeah.
You know, but
I don't know if that
yeah.
fills a void in your lifetime ketchup, but that's pretty funny.
Yeah, life.
We're talking with Greg Kerr. What'd you think of Diego Pavia not getting drafted? I mean, I delighted in it, but does it make sense?
Yeah, I think it does in a lot of ways. First of all, you don't want a noisy guy like that at first.
Yeah.
And then second, especially since they're going to be a backup and a guy who demanded that he be a starter when he arrived, you know, that kind of stuff. Quite less noisy than last year, though, with Shador, right? You know, and yet sort of the same type of thing where a guy dropped further than you thought he would. In fact, he was a Heisman finalist and he never even got drafted, which was. But I think there's a lot goes into that. I think there are character issues and his size, and I think they're both legitimate. And so, why use a draft pick on a guy like that when you probably know you can pick up the phone after the draft and get him if you want him? So
yeah, true that.
You know,
true that, and the fact that he didn't have an agent and the Indiana thing after he lost the Heisman to Mendoza.
Yeah, there were a ton of red flags.
Yep, there really were. There really were.
So I don't have any problem with him not getting drafted. The Ravens are bringing him into a mini camp.
That's what I heard.
Yeah,
of all places, and that he turned down other free agent offers to go to Baltimore of all places.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. That's maybe he thinks Lamar's injury prone these days.
I was going to suggest maybe he knows something we don't know. Maybe they're going to move Lamar. I don't know. I mean, good Google.
Better than that. He thinks he's better than the backup, whoever that is.
I guess it's what's his name? The black kid. Starts with a T. Who's Baltimore's backup, Chris?
I'm not in football mode right now.
I can't remember. It starts with a T. Tyler. Sweet. What do you got?
Huntley. Tyler Huntley.
Tyler Huntley. Yeah, Tyler Huntley's solid.
Okay.
Tyler Huntley's solid. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I think Huntley's better than him.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There was one other question I was going to ask you about. I can't remember what it was.
Well, let me share something with you.
All right, what do you got?
NFL, if you don't mind. But,
absolutely.
Rod Barnes got a new head coaching job. He's the new head coach at Itawamba Community College in Fulton, Mississippi.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
I don't know about
and
Fulton.
Coaches love to coach. So
yeah, it doesn't matter where, even in Fulton, Mississippi.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, he's back home. That's his home.
Oh, is that right?
Well, he's from Mississippi.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, then that's a win for him then. Okay.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. No,
oh, okay.
That's definitely a win for him, just going back home.
Yeah, that makes a whole lot of difference. It's different if you're not from Mississippi and you got to go to Mississippi.
Yeah.
But if the Magnolia State's your home.
I don't want to offend anybody, but too many people go there by choice.
I've offended everybody from there and Alabama. I've stated categorically, I've been to both states, Greg, and they're the two worst states in the union.
Which one?
Mississippi and Alabama.
Oh, in Alabama?
The only thing good coming out of Alabama is Tuscaloosa. The only good thing coming out of Alabama. I'm telling you that right now. I'll let you go. I'll leave you with this because I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about baseball seasons just got underway and the Dodgers' attempt at a three-peat. They just look so deep, Greg. I just don't see how we get beat. I mean, we lose our big money stopper, and Tanner Scott now reemerges as the old Tanner Scott. Mookie's down. We don't even miss him. Freddie was down with his wife and their fourth baby. We didn't really miss him. I mean, is there any chance this team doesn't three-peat?
Yes, because it's baseball.
Yeah.
But other than that, they have the best roster. There's no doubt. But it is baseball. So anything could happen. A hot pitcher on one day can shut down the best lineup, in the world.
Yeah.
So if that happens, then yes, it can happen. But it's amazing how they spend their money wisely. And then look at the Mets and the Phillies records right now.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
It's just horrible. So, yeah.
11 straight, and they've got the second highest payroll in baseball. So
yeah, it's the the Mets have just been, and the Boston Red Sox fired their manager and 5 other coaches hours after they lost 17-1.
Yeah,
I've got to imagine something's going to happen in Philadelphia or New York soon. It's got to.
Yeah, I agree, and I think the San Francisco manager is on the hot seat.
I know he had a rough start, and they apparently had a lot of team meetings early on.
Yeah,
but I'm going to give him a little grace, and I think they got to give him a little rope.
Yeah,
unless they just think he's completely out of his league, no pun intended. But maybe they just go, boy, this was a mistake.
I think he was literally out of his league, having never coached in the majors and been only a college coach. Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is, and that's why I think he doesn't have a long leash. I think they're gonna. I think
it's long enough than May. I mean,
oh yeah, no, I'm guessing before the All-Star break, he'll get whacked.
You think he'd be gone by the All-Star break?
I do.
Really?
I do.
Wow.
Unless they start winning.
Yeah.
Because they've got too good a lineup. Nobody's hitting. It's just not happening. Even though they took 2 or 3 from us, but what are you going to do?
Okay. Well. Yeah, didn't I see you hanging out with Steve Garvey, by the way?
I did get a chance to talk to Mr. Garvey. He was incredibly nice to me. I reminded him of the interview we did right in this room, and he lied and said he remembered it. And I asked him if he was done with politics, and he said no. He said he was this close to running for governor and that he's not done with politics. And I told him that if you hired me as your speechwriter and communications director, you'd screw around and win.
Was that before or after Davey Lopes died that you saw him?
It was right after Davey Lopes died. It was last Wednesday, a week ago Wednesday. Yeah, it was a sad departure of Davey Lopes, a good guy.
I was wondering if you asked him anything about Davey.
I didn't, and I should. It was just in passing. He was in the dining room, and I didn't get a lot of time with him, but nice guy.
By the way, speaking of baseball, real quick, I know you got to let me go. Trevor Bauer pitched 7 no-hit innings for Long Island in minor league baseball. Just throw that out there.
I'm just saying, I think he's still viable. I think he got a bad rap with baseball. I think that woman set him up. She was a stalker. She'd had sex with Fernando Tatis Jr. and another San Diego Padre. She took a picture after he beat the crap out of her with him in the shower and her showing off her bruises. There are text messages that showed that she liked being hit. It was part of her sexual desires. I think he got screwed. I really do.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I'm not making out like he's the greatest guy in the world, but he deserves to be in Major League Baseball.
I agree, and it goes to show what kids should learn from that is that your reputation precedes you. Because had he not been the screwball that he is, I don't think he would have got screwed like this. I think they would have looked at it differently. But this was one of like 5 or 6 incidents with this guy. It just goes to show you, if you have a reputation, it will follow you.
Yeah.
All right, so always great to talk to you. I appreciate you taking the time and coming on the program.
No problem, man.
All right, take care.
Have a great Monday.
You too. Greg Kerr. Check him out tonight, KVAK, Channel 29. My former employers. But it's Bakersfield. Who hasn't employed me? Quick time out. Kathy Abernathy joins at the top of the hour. We'll check the board, see what you all are talking about. We'll get into the First Lady's call and the President's for Jimmy Kimmel's firing. You will hear the audio that's got Republicans' hair on fire. And as I mentioned, Kathy Abernathy at the top of the hour. And we'll talk about the Jackson film, which did some incredible numbers over the weekend. And more on Cole Thomas Allen and his family. In the meantime, you're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1230. We're streaming live at KernRadio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
Tuesday's Armstrong and Getty Show. Why are the Iranians meeting with Putin? The whole war with Iran kind of put on the back burner after the shooting Saturday night, but we'll have the latest.
Plus, California's billionaire tax might be the worst idea in the history of taxation, and live team coverage of King Charles' visit to the U.S. What? We're not going to do that at all. We will have the news of the day, however, on the next Armstrong and Getty Show.
The Armstrong and Getty Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Summer is coming up, and a lot of you will have folks from out of town, relatives visiting, and there are just some things that you must see if you're visiting the city of Bakersfield. And one of them is the best steakhouse in Kern County, and that's KC Steakhouse. So if you've got relatives coming into town, make sure you take them to F Street and give them the KC experience. And make sure you go next door as well to the Stockyard, the Speakeasy-like bar. Make sure it's a Thursday, Friday, or Saturday night because there's live music in the Stockyard on those nights. And of course, Jimmy and Bobby are providing live music Tuesday through Saturday in the main restaurant. And even if your relatives aren't necessarily steak people, Chef Daniel has expanded the menu. There are all kind of different chicken dishes. I told you about the different fish dishes, the salmon, the halibut, the mahi-mahi. Where would you rather be? That's the place you have to show visitors of our community our great steakhouse, KC Steakhouse, longtime sponsors of the Ralph Bailey Show.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day. No one can beat us, no one can touch us. You won't find better prices. Shop and compare, we don't care. Take a look our way and come into Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Carpet Outlet Plus is celebrating 30 years in business by offering you no interest financing for 12 months. Head over to carpetoutletplus.com to apply now. You can get new waterproof flooring and comfy carpet in the bedrooms, all from one trusted place. Over 70,000 customers can't be wrong. It's probably been time to change your floors for a while, so call, click, or stop by today. Carpet Outlet Plus, 3.5 blocks west of 99 on Rosedale Highway.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Warmer weather is finally here, and that means cookouts,
ball games,
and maybe enjoying some time on the water.
But it also means lots of heavy foods, sweets, and maybe an extra adult beverage or two. Thank goodness we both take Active Liver from New Nordic. Did you know your liver works around the clock processing food, sugar, alcohol, and everyday toxins? All the things that can really impact your health.
That's why daily support matters. Active Liver is designed to protect normal liver function and support your body's natural detox process.
With trusted natural ingredients like milk thistle, turmeric, and artichoke extract, it's gentle enough to take all year long.
No harsh cleanses, no extreme detoxes, just simple daily liver support. We really feel the difference.
Active Liver helps us enjoy the good things in life with peace of mind that our liver isn't working overtime. Active Liver is available online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com, and you can find it in stores at CVS, Meijer Grocery, Wegmans, and now Active Liver is available at your local GNC.
Clay Travis and Buck Sexton live at 9 a.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
842-5376-842-KERN. Anything on the board?
Yeah, I got a couple here.
What do you got?
Ralph Tanner Scott is still 50-50 bet. Scary. Hope I'm wrong.
I don't think so. And I'm the biggest Tanner Scott critic that there is. I think he's throwing harder. I got to see him in person. His slider seems to be sharper. His ERA is under 2. I think it's under like 1.5. I mean, he's getting people out. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. He's getting people out. And there's just, I think there is something about, making that transition from one team to another. I did it when I came here from Buckley Radio. You don't think that first week here was about as nerve-wracking and as off-putting as it could possibly be? And the first month that the ratings came out, man, I was scared as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. So, I mean, there's that transition. Albert Pujols couldn't do it. A lot of guys can't do it their first year. So maybe that's what it was. Maybe he was injured. Maybe he was 85%. He just wasn't telling anybody because he wanted to go out there. The last thing you want to do as a big-time, high-dollar free agent is either not perform or not perform. You know what I'm saying? Either not perform because you're not getting it done or not perform because you're not out there. And, it's what Pop said. Half of life is just showing up. And so the last thing an athlete in particular wants to do after he signs a huge contract is not be able to perform, not to be able to go out there. And it's just something that makes me think, you just can't, as an athlete, I don't think good athletes like that go through the roller coaster ride that he's gone through, where he was at the top of his field, not of the American League. He was like the best reliever in baseball. And then he comes to us and couldn't get anybody out. And now, granted, small sample size, but he's off to another 2024 start. And it's like, huh? So that's the only thing I can surmise, is that either he wasn't 100% or he just couldn't handle, coming to, where did he come from? Was it Cleveland? No.
So
was it Cleveland? Well, wherever it was, unless it was New York, it was a smaller market than LA. So you're coming from a much smaller market and you're coming to Los Angeles. You know what I'm saying? Bright lights, Hollywood, there's magic, there's Billie Jean King, there's Mary Hart, Bert Sugarman, there's, every Dodger great that's still alive. It's a lot of pressure. I just think maybe he just wilted under it because he looks like the old Tanner Scott.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, Tanner came from San Diego.
Was he in our division?
I think so. I think he was the Padres closer before you guys.
Yeah. Okay. What else you got?
The fact that a man with a shotgun and knives got that close to Trump, this is a security failure. And who runs the Secret Service? Donald Trump.
Well, I disagree with that. And if you know the layout of the Hilton, because I've been in the Hilton and I went through a, what do you call it? When you go to a website and they can kind of virtually, I went through a virtual layout of the hotel. He was nowhere near the president. Even if he was in the ballroom, which he was nowhere near, he would have been nowhere near the president. Now, some other people could have gotten injured, but there were 2,000 people in that room, which is another thing that has to be answered. How in the world did the DC Fire Department allow 2,000 people in that room? Because what if there had been a fire? What if he had a bomb and he'd gotten by those guys and somehow gotten to the door? How are you getting 2,000 people out of that place? And there were some security lapses later on in the program. You're going to hear from Aisha Hasni. She's one of the CNN reporters who I got to meet on the last honor flight. She kind of shooed me off, but I talked to her anyway because she thought she was all that in a box of chocolate. But she talks about how access through the hotel, because you got to remember, this is a hotel. And in fact, the shooter was staying in the hotel. He checked in on the 24th. And so she alludes to the fact that guests of the hotel were intermingling with this event. And there was no, what do they call it? Magnetometers? What do they call it? Is that what they call it? Magnetometers? There weren't any checkpoints until you actually got to the ballroom. So you could have wandered into like the CNN party. And apparently he assembled the gun in the hotel as he was walking to where he ran through. I think what's most troubling is the fact that they took 5 shots at the guy and didn't hit him. That a would-be assassin is running through a hotel and our Secret Service can't put him to the ground. I'm glad they didn't. It'll be interesting to hear him. I'm sure he's going to want to testify in the trial. I'm sure he's going to want to tell his truth. What else you got?
Ralph, Melania can whine about Kimmel all day long, but don't forget that it's Trump who literally celebrates the death of his political opponents, as he did just a few weeks ago with the passing of Robert Mueller.
Well, you can what if, and what about that all you want, but here is exactly what Jimmy Kimmel had to say. And if you don't think that this is out of bounds and doesn't foster or put thoughts in the minds of sick individuals, then you're a sick individual.
Our First Lady Melania is here. Look at her, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow.
Yeah, that's just completely out of bounds. You don't allude to death. And if you listen to this program with any regularity, you know I've been the biggest critic of Donald Trump in terms of his behavior and his talking about John McCain, his allusions to Mueller, and et cetera, et cetera. But that doesn't make, that's your answer to what he just did? Oh, well, Trump incites it as well, so we're going to give Jimmy Kimmel a pass? No, it has to end on both sides. And the difference between the Republican Party and the Democratic Party is I can call up shows right now. I can go to YouTube right now and call up shows where I castigate the president for celebrating the death of Robert Mueller. I absolutely tear into the president for saying that John McCain wasn't a hero because he got shot down. The difference is Democrats won't do that to Jimmy Kimmel. That's the difference. Republicans are willing to criticize our own and spot un-American behavior when we see it. Democrats? Shoot. This guy could say whatever the hell he wants as long as it's anti-Trump. But let him say something about Barack Obama or Joe Biden and this dishonest party, which basically lied about their president and his competency. They're not going to call anybody out. They're not going to hold anybody accountable. But at least the Republican Party does that. At least on this broadcast, we do. Quick time out. Headed into the 4. It is a Monday. So Kathy Abernathy joins us next.
Kern Radio, AM 1230, KERN. 96.1 FM, K241CI, Bakersfield. An American General Media station.
Ooh.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump is calling for unity after a third assassination attempt.
The president spoke on Saturday night about the experience shortly after a man armed with guns and knives tried to push past the security perimeter inside a Washington hotel where the president was about to address the White House Correspondents Association dinner. Mr. Trump suggested his politics made him a target, but he says that there's a need for bipartisan healing. President Trump tells Fox News that after the incident, he would have given, quote, a speech of love if the event hadn't been curtailed. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche said increasingly polarizing political rhetoric was partly to blame for so many violent incidents surrounding the president. Bernie Bennett, Washington.
At a news conference, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says President Trump met this morning with his national security team after Iran made a new proposal.
The proposal was being discussed. I don't want to get ahead of the president or his national security team. What I will reiterate is that the president's red lines with respect to Iran have been made very, very clear, not just to the American public, but also to them as well. I wouldn't say they're considering it. I would just say that there was a discussion this morning that I don't want to get ahead of, and you'll hear directly from the president, I'm sure, on this topic very soon.
Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi met with Russian President Vladimir Putin to discuss the situation. Talks between Iran and the U.S. have stalled. Pakistan has been attempting to mediate. Fast-moving storms pummeled parts of the Midwest with hail, strong winds, and heavy rain, flooding streets and leading to stranded commuters who needed to be rescued from their vehicles. More storms are on their way through Monday night. The National Weather Service forecast shows more than 64 million people in the Midwest are at risk of severe storms. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 82 points. More at townhall.com.
So right now may be the perfect time for you to rethink how you pay for healthcare. And here's why. This time of year is decision time for a lot of people, but it's also when you can join MediShare and save even more than usual. For many families, joining MediShare means saving about $500 a month, which is a game changer for a lot of people. But what's more, MediShare members like it. We know this from member surveys. They like it a lot. It's a proven thing now. MediShare has been around for over 30 years. It's a Christian community of hundreds of thousands of people now. And here's the thing, too. If you join before November 30th and you mention the promo code SHARE, they will waive your application fee. So you save $100 right off the bat. I'll give you the number here in a second, but just call and you'll get a price within 2 minutes. Again, the deadline is November 30th. So call now. You'll save even more. Here's the number. Call 855-90-BIBLE. That's 855-90-BIBLE. 855-90 Bible.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update.
Outside.
He may do a year in jail or maybe less. I'm Chris Davis. Sentencing is set for May 22nd for Fong Hong Chun, who was caught last July with thousands of images and videos of child pornography. Police say they searched his devices, 13 of them, and found more than 70 terabytes of images showing children engaged in sex acts. In court Friday, Chun pleaded no contest to the charges in a deal that may result in his being sentenced to probation and minimal prison time on the state charges. People who have been convicted of less heinous crimes may be eligible for an expungement of their criminal record depending on the circumstances. And this weekend, a free expungement clinic was put on by law students at Cal State Bakersfield and attorneys from this area who volunteered their time and services to help people get started with that process. They do it every year, and this year the organizers say more than 300 people showed up to begin a removal of their indiscretions.
And it would have hit him in the
Also this weekend, a vigil was held for the 3 people who were killed in that wreck that happened Thursday at the intersection of Harris Road and Summer Springs Drive. Turn to 23 reports that some people believe that safety measures at the intersection should be changed, and they brought signs to that effect. Police believe that speed was definitely a factor, and they are still looking into whether drugs or alcohol may have also played a part. If you're filling up today, you'll pay a bit less than the state average for a gallon of regular in this area. The cheapest gas in Kern County is at 2 stations on Chester Avenue in Bakersfield, selling it for $5.13 and $5.15. The average across the state is $5.88, says Gas Buddy. The national average is now $4.07, coming up more than 15 cents from last week. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Welcome to the wrestler. A month from now, this Hollywood Big Shot's going to give you what you want. Too late. They start shooting in the week. I'm going to make them an offer again.
The Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
How many people we got? How many people we got?
Promised land.
Let me know.
I may not get that
We got
with
14.
but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hour 2 of the broadcast on this Monday, 27th day of April. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. Streaming live at KERNradio.com. Bottom of the hour, we'll talk about the Jackson 5 film, or the Michael Jackson film, actually. Did huge box office, but Paris, his daughter, and Janet, his closest sibling, are not very happy. Not very happy. We've got some audio of Joe Jackson and Joe talking about their childhood and how he disagrees with those who insist they had a bad childhood. And I agree with him. We'll hear from him later. Plus, we'll talk about Dodger baseball. They got 2 out of 3 from the Chicago Cubs. The Miami Marlins are in town. The Florida Marlins are in town tonight for 3. And then we're off to St. Louis. Take on the Cardinals at Busch Stadium starting on Friday night. But it is a Monday. Get out on the highway. Kathy's looking for adventure. Professor Kathy Abernathy, how are you, Professor?
Well, feeling pretty good. You're worried about the Cardinals and the Dodgers, huh?
Not at all. Not
I don't think
at
so.
all. Not
I don't
at
think
all.
so.
They're going in 2 separate directions, that's for sure.
Well, you know my anti-capitalist attitude about the baseball teams now, that they should pool their money because there's never going to be a Denver and a Milwaukee and a St. Louis in 10 years if all that money is in LA and New York.
But it proves that money doesn't buy you winning. The Mets are losing miserably, and they have the 2nd highest payroll in baseball.
Well, and then maybe they don't have a good coach, but what's a
What?
Dodger guy?
Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, he's getting $700 million.
And-
700 million.
and a Met, Mr. Soto is getting 720 million.
And they're doing poorly. I don't
and they're
follow them.
losing. Well, he's
Well-
not playing these days, but that's.
But if you get good in New York, you get good in St. Louis, LA's going to take you. And you want the teams to all, you want to have the America's pastime, and I feel like we're going to lose it.
Well, Toronto should have won the World Series.
Well, that's true.
They outplayed us. They absolutely outplayed us.
The Canadian
And
series.
It's just a little bit of luck and a little bit of depth and skill. I mean, if that ball doesn't lodge in the wall, they win. If Will Smith's foot comes up that much off home plate, they win. If Miggy Rowe, who hadn't hit a home run against a right-handed hitter all season, hadn't got a hit in 30 days, if he doesn't hit a home run in the ninth inning, they lose. They hit 262. We hit 202. I mean, they should have won.
Yeah.
They really should have. They outplayed us. They outpitched us. We're just the Dodgers.
Well, I went there Saturday. I sent you some.
Oh,
pictures.
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Those are good seats.
Yeah, very good seats.
Did you have access to the dining room?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
did you
then-
see
and
any
the Cracker
celebrities?
Cracker Jacks, they bring it to your seats. It's a friend, very wonderful friend that let us sit in those seats with her. But Cracker Jacks to me, it should be a box, and now it's a little bag like Lay's potato chips. But I digress.
Oh, portions. Don't even get started on portions.
But yeah, that was a good game, even though it was like 12-2 or whatever it ended up being. It was just a lot of action.
Yeah, they
which
came
is
back.
fun. Which is
They
fun.
were trailing.
Yeah,
and came back.
It was a fun game to have action, and so yeah, it was bobblehead night for the other person. Who's the other guy? An Asian also.
Roki Sasaki.
Sasaki, yeah, that guy.
Yes.
Yeah, so they had him bobbleheaded. People just glom onto those things, and they're real popular. But
Did you see any celebrities in the dining room?
No.
No Mary Hart, no Burke Sugarman?
No. We thought the woman sitting in front of us in the very front, right next to, right next to the dugout, except for a concrete walkway. She was wearing heels. You don't usually wear heels to a baseball game.
Black woman?
No, Asian. And I think from there, because she just had that international look. But when my friend asked her, she didn't say she was anybody's girlfriend. But she might have been later. I don't know. But she seemed classy. But so we had plenty to talk about. Oh, that must be so and so's girlfriend. That's what I do at Major League games. No, but it was.
She was by herself?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
All by herself on the aisle seat there.
And she
right
was
by-
not Sasaki's
She said
wife?
she wasn't a girlfriend or anything. I don't know, but maybe she made points. I don't know. Anyway,
That's bizarre.
Yeah,
a woman going to a ball game by herself and having really good
Right.
seats.
yeah.
That's
You just don't know. You just don't know. Love sports, I think.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
But
Or a
yeah.
groupie, one of the two.
what a audience that Dodger Stadium. I mean, I know they hold. What I knew the number once. Is it 53?
56,000.
56,000. Yeah,
56,
it was, and people didn't leave, which normally, Dodger fans, seventh inning, they're gone.
Mhm.
But people stayed, which was, even though they were far ahead. So that's nice.
It's different now. It's different. It's like Showtime with the Lakers. It's different. It's not just winning. It's Shohei. It's Freddie.
Yeah,
It's an all-star lineup.
Right, it is. When you
and
see
people wanna
Freddie
see
walk
it.
up, and even if he doesn't make it, it's still a big deal because you saw him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they start chanting Freddie, and
Mhm.
yeah, it's a different thing. It's like that's the best comparison I can make.
that's neat because you have these generations where you have some really famous players, and they make it big, and it's fun. So yeah, the Dodgers they're doing well.
Yeah.
So
So what did you think when you saw this unfold Saturday night?
yeah, that was a lot of drama, and but I have to say, and particularly, I heard a statistic on people under 29 don't have a problem with violence in politics. They did the survey, 29. I mean, it was like the majority don't have a problem with it, and my mind goes to that insurance executive shot in the back by that young man came from a very wealthy family. I forget his name now, thank goodness. But
Luigi
I think we know.
Mangione.
Yeah, the young women in New York City haven't forgotten him. Wealthy family, had everything, His family said he kind of disappeared the last 6 months. They didn't know where he was, whatever. But he didn't hurt for money. And so why he's in an insurance fight, I don't quite get. And you start to wonder, some of these educated people that are doing things like this.
This guy was
point blank.
Incredibly educated.
Yeah.
Masters,
Caltech.
Got his degree from Caltech in mechanical engineering. Got a master's in computer science. Was teacher of the year 1 year when he started teaching. 31 years old though, living with his mom and daddy.
Yeah, working at JPL, which is a big deal
working at
too.
JPL in Pasadena.
Because
that's
my
huge.
daughter interned there, and my older daughter, and she was a mechanical engineer, and they're very normal people.
And they're really intelligent people. It's the JPL is a jet propulsion laboratory out in Pasadena, where basically NASA begins much of their rocket science. And it just, the thing that I have a problem with, what I'm talking about in the 5, is that his sister is an educated journalist. She went to Northwestern. She got a degree from Northwestern. She got a master's degree. She's part of the Pew Research Center, which I use. She worked for Cal Matters, which I've used. Yes, this is an incredibly educated journalist. And she talked to the New York Post and said, yeah, he talked about a plan to cure America. He was spending a lot of time at the gun range. I was aware of the guns. And you knew he was mentally ill, and you didn't say a word. And that's the problem, Kathy, that these families know they have that uncle in the attic that's crazy as a bed bug, but they don't want to say anything. They don't want to say anything. They don't want to air their dirty laundry out in public.
And don't want to try to help him because that would be public.
Yes.
No, that's I have felt for years a lot of these. Well, the young man that shot Trump in
Butler.
We know nothing really. They really covered that up real fast. But anyway, he's dead. But the parents knew, and he was about 21. So I mean, living at home isn't odd.
They ratted him out.
Yeah. Well, so did the one that killed Charlie Kirk. His dad. He told his live-in boyfriend, I guess, and then I guess he told his dad, and his dad turned him in.
Sure
but
did.
Dad, what about the last 4 or 5 years?
Yeah.
You know, you've got somebody who you know has got a problem. I'm not sure if some of those problems are solvable, curable by going to a psychiatrist. But I have to think that if we have this element, particularly in their 20s, that feel violence, and that's why this poll that I don't know who ran the poll, but the poll said that I don't know if it was, I hope it wasn't a majority, but a good 30% of people under 29 didn't have a problem with political violence. And that's hard to hear and accept in this country.
Is it one-sided in your opinion?
What do you mean one side? Oh, the sided against the conservative side. I guess I have not seen an example that I can point to that Bernie Sanders or some other more leftist.
It's Republicans. It's Steve Scalise.
Yeah,
It's
the whole baseball team, the Republican baseball team was practicing there.
Yeah.
No Democrat baseball team was practicing there. It's
Charlie Kerr
and the Supreme Court judges and
Brett Kavanaugh.
Yeah. So it does seem targeted, and none of those, Brett Kavanaugh, I mean, for goodness sakes, we know Donald Trump has a pretty strong mouth, but Brett Kavanaugh doesn't. And so if it's the policies they're going after, wow, that can happen in any state capital in the country. So what is making, and I know some people probably point to the fact that they live on their cell phone and they don't have normal friendships or whatever. I don't know if I can fault that. I mean, some people live on the top of a mountain. They don't go out and fly to Washington, D.C. to shoot in the back an insurance executive because they're mad at their insurance policy, which I don't think he was. But
the fact that he was living with his parents, I think, says a lot because he had a great job. He probably makes more money than I do.
Yeah, he lives in L.A., which is not
Torrance,
which is still probably 8 times Bakersfield. I compare rents with people, and I hear what our few apartments rent for, and the rest of them are saying, "Oh my gosh, of course, San Francisco, you can't." So I don't know if that means he's wacky. I think it's more there's something in him, and if the sister's seen it, they've all seen it for years, not just in the last 3 weeks.
If you're a 31-year-old with a master's degree and you're living with your parents, you are wackadoo. I'm sorry.
But enough to have to go shoot the president and his cabinet. That's a difference.
enough that your parents should be like, son,
Or should be aware.
this isn't right.
Mhm.
You're making 80, 90 grand a year and you're living with us.
Mhm.
This don't make no sense. What's going on?
Right.
You
I don't know how they could tell, but I can't believe that a lot of these parents shouldn't be brought into these courtrooms when they're children, particularly under 18, let alone even up to 21, and particularly when they've been living with you, like the Butler assassin, attempted assassin. So what's going on that's making this happen? And I would say, yeah, a lot of strong rhetoric, but enough to shoot to kill. I don't see rhetoric that strong on either side of the politicians, to me, to warrant going out and shooting them. I don't see that, but maybe I don't get it.
Well, I mean, obviously, if you're shooting somebody, you're clinically insane,
Yeah.
particularly if it's political and you think you can cure the problem by taking somebody out.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's pretty
Luigi
stupid.
Mangioni's belief that he was somehow curing the health insurance by killing this one cat is about as loony as it gets. And this kid was well educated. I think he was an Ivy Leaguer.
And from a very well-established family with a lot of money. But the mother did say the last 4-6 months they had lost complete contact with him. I don't know if they were still somehow he was getting money. Who was giving him money? I mean, for semi-conspiracy theory, you start to wonder, are they funded? I know all these protests are so professionally run. And the people taking videos of themselves saying ugly things, that helps them get paid. That's no question. That's no question that's going on in those. But this is somebody promoting, are they pushing people that they know that are on the brink to go this far and shoot to kill?
Yeah. Are you concerned about some of the questions that are being posed? Like, why did they get J.D. Vance off the stage before they got the president?
Yeah, I saw that.
That is the most bizarre. And they were frantic about getting Vance off, and they just seemed very casually getting the president off. And did you see? Oh, you haven't, because you haven't seen a lot of the video. But the funniest thing is, because you got 1,500 reporters with 1,500 cameras, so you've got all kind of video. And a woman that doesn't even like Stephen Miller posted something on her podcast where she applauded Stephen Miller because she said he's one of the few Republicans that actually stayed with his wife. And then they showed all kind of video, Robert Kennedy being ushered away by the Secret Service, and Cheryl Hines like, hey, Bobby, wait for me. And just, there was another one where I forget whose wife it was, that he left her in the lurch.
But they talked about other husbands who did protect their wives.
Stephen
Although
Miller.
I would be
Stephen
dragging
Miller.
her out. I wouldn't.
He had her like this.
Yeah.
He had her hugged up and escorted her
Protected
out.
her at his
Other guys
expense.
were like, baby, I am out of here. You got to fend for yourself.
Well, and that man we were talking about, you're gonna. I guess you can't play it. There's no audio. Oh no, they're saying there is audio. This older man that just sat there through the whole thing and just eating and drinking his wine, and
Well, they interviewed him after the fact.
he looked like he was mid to late 60s at
Mhm.
least. He wasn't going. You always wonder, are you watching doctored scenes that created by AI on some of this?
Hang on, I think I got him. Nope, that's Ouija.
He was. It was like out of Titanic. Someone that's just going to go down with the ship and didn't care.
Hang on, I've got him somewhere. Please tell me I saved it.
But he said that. Then there's been some doctored photos, I'm sure, where it shows a woman, taking bottles of wine off the table. Was
Oh,
that
here it is.
real?
Yes.
That was real.
Hang on.
I'm here with Michael Lance. Many of you know him. He was the guy eating the salad when people are under the table. Michael, what was going on there? You weren't nervous?
Born and raised in New York. Didn't scare me at all. I didn't want to miss the show. So I figured everybody's down on the floor. Two other reasons I wouldn't do it. One, I have a bad back. I couldn't get down on the floor.
Okay.
Two, I'm a hygiene freak. There's no way I'm putting my tux on a dirty floor. So it wasn't going to happen. I was watching the show. Didn't want to miss it.
All right, Michael Lance. So good to be with you. Thank
Wouldn't put his tux on a dirty floor.
And I'm not getting on that dirty floor.
His dead body on that dirty floor. That's a different subject.
No kidding.
People.
The video is weird. It really is. because there were some people that never got under the table, like this guy. Then there were other people that were completely freaked out. I mean, it's just a weird night. And then
What about that note to Trump? What was the story there? They first showed him a little a card.
well, it was like he's like a Kreskin. The guy he was talking to was like the 21st century Kreskin.
Johnny
and he was trying to predict Carolyn Levitt's child's name.
That's that had nothing to do with all this?
Had nothing to do with the thing.
Oh, I thought he was saying there's an assassin 12 feet from you.
He was doing a trick. And in fact, the chairman of the correspondence dinner, and I had her name down here phonetically because she's Asian, it's Meijing Weege or something like that. You see her like clasp her mouth like, oh my God. And at first I thought she knew what was going on. She was reacting to the trick. But apparently he predicted that she said, don't tell me his name. And he predicted what they were going to name her child. And she was like, oh my God, he got it right. And then that's exactly when all hell broke loose.
I did see her, yeah.
Yeah, no, that was to the trick. That had nothing to do with the shooter.
Okay. I wondered, I thought it was this, there's a murderer guy shooting about 10 feet from here. Oh yeah, let me read that again.
Well, no, but there is an interesting mystery going around. I alluded to Aisha Heisnet. We're going to play her a little bit later. She's a Fox reporter. I think I identified her as a CNN reporter. And she was giving a phone interview. And she said, I was sitting next to Carolyn Levitt and her husband. And her husband said right before the shooting, you need to be really careful. And I said, why? And he said, because there are people here. And then she cuts off. And it's like, what was that about? What was he about to say?
Well, yeah, it could have been he's about to say that really don't like this administration. But
yeah, who knows?
But none of those, even that idiot in LA that Trump said that she's waiting for her husband to die. Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel isn't going to, in my opinion, walk in there with a gun. But
is he going to get whacked?
I wonder. That was pretty bad.
It really is.
Yeah, before or after.
Because what if he had been harmed?
Yeah.
What if he had been shot?
Yeah. Well, it's saying something like that's just the way life is, and so when you make it so casual that she could become a widow, well, there's only one way that's going to happen. Technically, when you're president. So that was rough. But Kimmel's getting away with it, and maybe they like it because it's going to bring in an audience.
Yeah.
Particularly those under 29 who don't have a problem with violence.
Tonight
is this his first show?
Have a spike.
Yeah, tonight.
He'll have
of course.
Spike.
It's hard to believe this was just last night.
Saturday,
or Saturday.
Yeah. It is crazy.
So yeah.
And
that's right. We were at the game, and that's when it was hard to. Somebody was saying, "That's right."
It was getting around during the game.
Yeah, well, because the game went on till 7:30 or so, or 8, and that would have been 10:30 back there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was during the game. I was trying to Google.
Yeah, is it going to happen again?
Well, when you look at this, whatever happened to the man in Florida on the golf course? Did they ever do anything to him? Is he just nuts? The guy that had a gun on the Trump's golf course? Is he on trial ever?
Yeah. I think they're waiting.
You don't hear it? Why that doesn't get wrapped up faster? I don't understand. We don't know what happened in Pennsylvania and Butler, and this one, if he locks up, he's getting a public defender. He doesn't have a lawyer.
Yeah.
So but then that's interesting if he's got money and everything, but maybe he doesn't care.
Well, Dad was a school teacher. I mean, they were middle class,
but like
South
you're saying,
Bay,
he's
Torrance
making
family.
decent money
Mhm.
himself, but it's not cheap to have a lawyer. We know that.
Especially in a murder case.
Yeah,
Especially
it's
in
going to go on
assassination
forever.
case.
It's going to go on forever. So
And
we
it'll
don't.
be appealed.
And that Mangione, where's that? He's
That's
just
coming
gonna
up this
languish
summer. No, this summer. This June.
I don't understand why it's just you got a camera shot of the guy doing it. Why does it take that long? I don't.
Yeah.
The court system really has to change. If people saw faster justice, I think it would help. If you become a longtime celebrity over it, that's not good for people who are whacked out, that they think that's a way to have some fame before you go, and we're all going to go, so might as well go as somebody famous.
When are we going to deal with the pandemic? This pandemic of mental health, where these normal people just lose it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this guy was raised by two parents in a very middle class South Bay community.
So
he
is
did
the
everything.
Utah.
He has no criminal past. He got an education. He did what we're expecting of him, and he snaps.
Right. And the same as the shooter in Utah. He had a good family. His parents were solid community people. I don't know if his dad was a minister. I'm not sure. But he was raised, seemed to have a normal life. He hadn't been arrested 10 times. You hear about these people, these long rap sheets, but nothing this serious. And these guys do something just totally out of the blue.
Which goes to show, I think, proves that the rhetoric is playing a role.
Mhm.
That they're being inspired by something just to throw away their entire lives.
Well, I think they have no care about their entire life. I
They
think
don't.
if they have that one moment
don't.
of fame and they've done something bigger than they could ever do. But again, like you say, when you have a brain that what they say, 2% of the applicants get into Caltech and he got in, he's got a really good brain, but it's a brain on numbers things and not, didn't study enough, I guess, things that might have made him a little softer about what politics and American history is. But
Well, I've always said geniuses are weird by definition. If you've got that kind of mind, and
like a beautiful mind.
that's
that's
you're,
right. That was a
by
good,
definition
right.
a weirdo.
Well, we don't have to be worried about being called that. You and
No,
I.
I'm a lot of things. A genius, I am not. That's for damn sure. Always good to talk to you,
Thank
Kathy.
you, Ralph.
Appreciate you taking the time. Kathy Abernathy, everybody. Back half of the hour, the Jackson film did boffo box office, as they say in Hollywood. We'll talk about that, give you some background information, and you'll hear from the patriarch of the Jackson family on raising his 9 kids. That's coming up on the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, and we're streaming live at kernradio.com. Yeah. Michael? No, I'm going to go see it Wednesday.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
News. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The man who authorities say
goes all the
tried
way-
to storm
it
the White
stops at
House
88.
Correspondents Association dinner with guns and knives was charged Monday with the attempted assassination of President
Well, I mean,
Trump.
they always
Federal authorities
blame Joe
suggested an attack that disrupted one of Washington's glitziest events had been planned for at least several weeks.
all he did was make them all
King
millionaires.
Charles III and Queen Camilla have made their
Yeah.
way to the White House.
Every single one of
British
them.
royal couple arrived in the United States on Monday afternoon on a 4-day state visit aimed at celebrating the United States'
a weird family, that's
250th
for sure.
anniversary.
Where the
President
brothers,
Trump and First Lady Melania
Randy
Trump
and
welcomed them
Jermaine,
to the White
married the
House
same
for
gal,
tea.
and both had
On Wall Street, the Dow down by 82 points.
what does
The
that make
Nasdaq
the
rose
kids? Are they
50. The
cousins?
S&P 500 advanced 8.
Same mama,
Oil
but
trading near
different daddy?
$97 a barrel. This
Yeah.
is SRN
They're not
News.
from Utah. They're from Indiana, but they were.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Headlines from the KERN Newsroom.
I'm Chris Davis. The thousands of images and videos found last July by police forensic examinations on 13 devices belonging to Fong Hong Chun may result in his getting a minimal sentence with a plea deal that was reached Friday.
Okay,
Chung
see you next
pleaded
week.
no contest in court, admitting to the charges but not pleading guilty. Sentencing is set for May 22nd. People who've been convicted of less heinous crimes may be eligible for an expungement of their criminal record, depending on the circumstances. And this weekend, a free expungement clinic was put on by law students at Cal State Bakersfield and attorneys from this area who volunteered their time and services to help people get started with that. They do it every year, and this year the organizers say more than 300 people showed up to begin a removal of those mistakes. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
Gas costs more. Groceries cost more. And Sacramento keeps making decisions like Kern County doesn't exist. Andre Gonzalez isn't waiting around for someone else to fix it. Born and raised right here in Bakersfield, Andre Gonzalez has spent his career delivering for this community. He created a community land trust so working families can actually afford to own a home. He's fought to make sure Kern County gets its fair share from Sacramento to fix roads and build water infrastructure, not just the scraps LA and the Bay Area leave behind. Andre Gonzalez is backed by California's firefighters, classroom teachers, and he is the only candidate endorsed by the California Democratic Party. Join them. Vote for Andre Gonzalez for State Assembly on or before June 2nd. Ad paid for by California Credit Union League Political Action Committee, not authorized by a candidate or a committee controlled by a candidate.
Tuesday edition, Clay and Buck Show, will break down the absolute latest on the fallout from yet another assassination attempt on President Trump. All of the court procedures, everything that is progressing there. The absolute latest on battles with Iran. Is the Strait going to open up? How are things going there? All that and more. You won't want to miss it. Tuesday edition, Clay and Buck.
Live at 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
842-537-6842-KERN. As we mentioned, Michael premiered this weekend and did huge box office. It was the highest grossing biopic in the history of Hollywood, which is saying a lot given the recent Elvis film. And we've talked about a lot of the biopics last week with Rick Bentley, Ray, with Jamie Foxx about Ray Charles. And I'm shocked there hasn't been a biopic on Stevie Wonder, but there was a biopic on, I can't remember her name. I can't remember the actress that played her. She was the
Whitney Houston, and we're talking about
no. I can't remember her name. Patsy Cline, the Patsy Cline bio picture. I mean, there's been some really good ones, and the big debate is obviously focusing on the fact that the movie ends in 1988, and none of the Jackson women, other than LaToya, are in the film. I don't know. It's a whole weird thing because the Jackson family is so bizarre, and the fact that they were talking about how Jafar got this gig and how he had to audition and this and that and this and that. I'm like, have you gone crazy? His father is the executive producer. His grandmother is the executive producer. There was nobody that was going to play this guy other than a Jackson. Have you gone nuts? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And all I've heard, I'm going to see it this week. I think I'm going to see it Wednesday or Thursday evening. But all I've heard is that it's one-sided. I know the daughter has a serious problem with it. She says it's incredibly inaccurate, and it doesn't even get into the sexual, the allegations against Michael Jackson don't come out until 1993, and the movie chronologically ends in 1988. But here is a bite from the patriarch of the Jackson family, Joe Jackson, and him dealing with this myth that was created that Michael did not have a childhood because of the nature of the entertainment industry.
I worked 2 jobs almost 10 years. Well, they had a lot of problems at that time, with a lot of crime and stuff. And that's one of the reasons that I was able to keep my kids at home. I know Michael always complained about he never did have a childhood. He had a wonderful childhood. Why I say that? Because his childhood, he was there with his brothers and sisters. He always played with them. I just didn't want him out there playing with the kids and stuff that always into trouble. And they were some of those kids are in prison. Some of them are dead, and mine never was that. In raising those kids, I raised them close. They was able to entertain each other, and I thought that was good. They didn't have to go out there in the streets if they wasn't locked up like some of the other people or robbing people. They never did none of that stuff.
I think Joe Jackson was an outstanding father. I really do. I think he was an outstanding father that got a bad rap because the era of America started to change. Because when his kids became adults, because we're roughly the same age, most of the kids in the family, society's viewpoint on corporal punishment changed. For example, every single child that I grew up with, even some of the entitled white kids that I grew up with, went to high school with, were whipped, were spanked, got a belt. And right around, I don't know, the 90s, turn of the century, parents just said, nope, we're not doing that anymore. And what always mystified me about that was whenever I would ask a parent, roughly my age or maybe a little bit older, do you spank your children? And they would say no. I would always ask them, were you spanked? And they would say, that's one of the main reasons I don't spank my children. And then I'm saying, but you're a successful real estate agent. You're a successful radio talk show host. You're a successful radio producer. It must have worked. I don't understand how we got away from how our parents raised us. And if you're over 60, I'd be willing to bet you got a whooping. And so the fact that Joe Jackson whipped his kids and found a talent in them, recognized it, nurtured it, and made them all millionaires, oh my God, called Child Protective Services. As I talk about, whenever I talk about the Jacksons, other than Michael, none of them have been in any kind of criminal trouble. And as I say, to a person, they're all millionaires. They're all millionaires. And like Kathy didn't know they grew up in Gary, Indiana. Go Google them. And go do some research on what Gary, Indiana was like in the 1960s. It was that's how. And you just heard Joe allude to the fact he was working 2 jobs. Catherine was at home. That's the way we did things in the 20th century. The woman stayed at home, and if the dad had to work 2 jobs so mom could be there when the kids got home from school and make their lunches, etc., that's what we did in those days. And Jackson busted his hump and was a genius to put these kids together. You know, Michael was not intended to be a part of the band. He was too young, and it was the mom who heard him singing in the bathroom and went to Joe and said, you might want to take Michael on this next weekend trip. And Joe was like, no, Michael's too young. He's not ready. And she calls him into the bedroom and said, sing that song you were singing. And he sang for the both of them right there. And Joe looked at her and he goes, all right, you might be right. And that's the history of it. Now, I don't know how it's depicted in the film, but that's the true discovery, that it was the mom that heard him singing in the bathroom. But to be able to put those boys together, to be able to get gigs, 5 young teenage black kids in Indiana, and to get the connections and be smart enough where he didn't blow their dough, and they all emerged as adults, as millionaires, I'd call that a successful parenthood. But when Michael died and when Michael started talking smack about his parents, we were in that era where parents didn't spank their children. So Joe was seen as this mean man who put a belt to his. Well, I mean, that's the way life was in the 20th century. Fathers put their hands on their sons when they acted wrongly. But apparently that's a thing of the past. And Papa Janko, look who we got. We got a generation of kids that are addicted to their phones, that are willing to give up their lives, whether it's shooting their old alma mater or trying to take out the president of the United States or just acting a fool at a mall, whatever it is. We've created a generation of monsters who don't like themselves, don't like others, would rather sit in their room on a phone and play games or look at reels or sift through Instagram. We have failed our children. It gets back to my thesis that we talk a really good game about defending our children and preparing our children, but we don't. We don't. We have a school system in which we don't hold children back if they're failing. We just pass them along. We're going to hear the audio tomorrow of this Kansas City chief trying to read the draft card. And the caption on the reel that I saw said that the guy couldn't read, which means he made it through high school, he made it through college, and he doesn't know how to read. We haven't heard anything like that since Dexter Manley. Remember Dexter Manley, the Washington Redskins? 3-time Pro Bowler, and he admitted that he didn't know how to read. And he'd gone to, I think he went to the University of Maryland or some big school, and was an NFL football player, didn't know how to read. Didn't know how to read. Because we pass these kids along. There's no accountability of the teachers. And in particular, if they're athletes or they have a special talent, we're certainly going to pass them along. And we are failing them. We are failing them. We are their biggest problem, if you ask me. Let's go ahead and take a break. And when we come back, we'll check the board, see what you all are talking about. I've got some more audio from the White House Correspondents' Dinner. You'll hear from Wolf Blitzer and an odd bathroom scene where Mr. Blitzer and others were being sequestered behind a long gun, an agent at the bathroom door with a long gun defending the bathroom. You'll also hear from Aisha Hasni, Fox reporter. She was there that infamous night. And Todd Blanche, the acting attorney general, filling in for the late Pam Bondi. She's not dead. She just is politically dead. And we'll talk a little Dodger baseball. The Dodgers go at it again tonight. The Marlins are in town to wrap up the homestand. And then it's off to Busch Stadium, taking on the Cardinals later on in the week. Mr. Oblisky looked good again. He walked a tightrope a little bit, just a little bit. But the bullpen came in and shut it down. We took 2 or 3 from the Cubs after a disappointing road trip, only getting 2 out of 4 from Colorado and getting only 1 win in 3 against the god-awful Stinky Smellies. What's up with that? Big timeout. Coming right back. It's TRBS. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. We're streaming live at KernRadio.com.
Big Mike.
AM 1230, KERN. First Look with Scott Cox, morning 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Tuesday edition of the First Look program, we'll be without the services of Lois Henry from sjvwater.org. She has an event to attend. We have the latest from the White House Correspondents' Dinner fiasco, all the state-of-the-art news, traffic, and weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
With the weather changing, it makes it incredibly conducive for outdoor events, barbecues, luncheons, weddings, etc. And if you're looking for a caterer this summer or this spring, I suggest you call Mike Arier at Big Mike's Rage and Barbecue. Call him today at 393-5507. 393-5507. Doesn't matter what your event is. It can be a graduation, a wedding event, a luncheon. It does not matter. Mike has used the hard work and discipline that he used to get into the NFL, and he's now transferred into his catering business. And for the last 25 years, he's been one of the leading caterers in this town, strictly by word of mouth. Now he's advertising, wants you to know that he comes with his crew, he comes with his rig. They do the cleaning, they do the cooking, they do the serving. The only thing you need to do is pick up the phone and call Mike today at 393-5507. At 661-393-5507. Mike Arier and Big Mike's Ragin' Barbecue.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here for King Door Company. I had my garage door installed over 20 years ago and it still works like the day it was installed. So I know all about King Door's quality products, but let's talk service. At King Door Company, it's an obsession. Whether you're having a garage door installed, serviced, or repaired, you can count on King Door Company to do it right. And it all starts with training. All King Door techs have been through the King Door Academy, an on-site training center where technicians study the very latest in garage door technology so that when they show up at your house, they have all the experience and product knowledge they need to take care of your garage door. They really are the state of the art. And when you pair that expertise with King Door's legendary customer service, you get a service experience that can't be beat. So whether you need a new garage door or just service on an existing door, regardless of who built or installed it, count on the pros at King Door to do the job right. Just call 397-2744 or check them out online at kingdoor.com. King Door Company, the company with the pride of a lion.
Are gas prices the final straw to break the camel's back? Are you drowning in debt so that more gas means you can't pay for other essential stuff? Are you getting collection calls, emails, and texts on credit cards, medical debt, loans, buy now, pay later, and so forth? The attorneys at Clean Slate BK Group have a solution to make the nightmare go away. CSBK can stop the harassment, get rid of the balances, maybe even get your car payment reduced, and get you reset in the right financial direction for a fraction of the time and money of a debt settlement program. A Chapter 7 BK takes about 6 months, and at the end, the financial straws will be off your back. Log on to CSBK.com and read what real people just like you have to say about what CSBK has done for them. This is an attorney advertisement. Your results may vary, and prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome. Clean Slate BK Group PC, located at 2300 Westwood Boulevard, Suite 105, Los Angeles, California 90064, is responsible for the content of this ad. For more information, visit CSBK.com. That's CSBK.com to end your financial nightmare.
Clay Travis and Buck Sexton, live at 9 a.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.
Very controversial. I meant to say this at the top of the show, but I'm going to say it. And just take a pause, take a beat before you start screaming at your radio. Okay? Just take a beat and let me make my case. LeBron James might be the GOAT. I know. Why do you think I said take a beat before you respond? I'm more leaning to my prior thesis, which was LeBron James has had the greatest career. That's irrefutable.
Yeah,
that's irrefutable. Nobody has come into the league with the expectations that LeBron James had on him out of high school. Let's don't forget that. I don't know about you, but when I graduated from high school, I couldn't tie my shoes. And this guy, what'd they do that first year?
Oh, it wasn't great, but
did they get to the playoffs?
I don't think so. I don't think they got there until the second year. Let me double check that.
Was he standing there because of the LeBron
Yeah, he's
thing?
laughing at you, just me.
No. Hang on. Did you see Friday night's game? Did you see Friday night's game? See, that's why you don't think this. The Lakers are down 6 with 39 seconds to go. I'm telling you, 39 seconds to go. LeBron hits a three to get him within 3. They're bringing the ball up. LeBron pokes the ball away. They get a steal. They bring it back up court. He hits another 3 that ties the game up. They go into OT and they win. Now, again, as I was about to say, I think it lends more to he's having the greatest career of anybody because, again, nobody had the expectations. Nobody had the kind of rookie year coming out of high school that he did. Moses Malone, Kobe, none of those guys, Kevin Garnett, none of those guys that came out as high schoolers had the year that he had. And nobody, Michael, Kareem, nobody is playing as well in their 40s as he is. Because Michael, I remember the Wizard days. Michael was a shell of himself. I remember Cap when he was bald. If you see footage of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and he's completely bald, he was through. He was done. You can tell Kareem's productivity by his size of his afro. But that was pretty badass at 41, 42, however old he is. And to maintain that ability for that long a time, I'm just saying.
You're starting to see the Windhorst theory.
I'm just saying. I mean, I saw Willie Mays at the end of his career.
I get it.
I saw in person Joe Namath at the end of his career, where he was taking I saw him at the Coliseum when he was a Ram, when he was taking 8-step drops because he was so unable to avoid the rush that if he threw a screen, it'd be a 20-yard pass. You know what I'm saying? So I've seen these guys break down, and this guy just doesn't go away. He's playing as well as any above-average NBA player, and he's in his 40s, and these kids are half his age. He's playing with his child, for God's sakes.
Yeah, I don't think people take that.
Think about that. He's playing with his 20-something-year-old son, who's improving. He had a pretty good,
look at Bronny.
He had a pretty good night last night. I mean, they got ran off the court, but Bronny actually played well. I was taken aback, to be honest with you.
And just to give you some stats, they were 35 and 47 his first year.
What about
Did
the
not
second
make
year?
the playoffs.
What about the second year?
I'd have to look into that real quick. But he averaged 21, 5.5, and 6 assists.
As a freshman in college?
Essentially, in the NBA.
That's
he was the
crazy.
third player at the time to do so in the NBA history.
That's all I'm saying. And he's what? How old is he now? Hey, Siri, how old is LeBron James? And 20 years later, or 22 years later, he can still put up 25, 8, and 6.
Sophomore season, they were 41 and 39, missed the playoffs, but they got closer. He averaged 27, 7, and 7.
As a sophomore in college?
Yeah.
Come on, y'all. Come on, JR. 27 points a night at 19
games.
And he played what?
80 of the 82 games.
He better at 19. Shoot, what else he got to do?
True.
19 years old, and he was putting in 27 a night. I'm telling you, you can make it. Now, you all know I think Kareem is the greatest player who ever lived. I think he was more potent than Michael. I think the only difference is that Michael had the ability to lift up an entire team. I don't think Kareem was that guy, not based on his talent, but based on who he was. You know what I'm saying? You can't lift up a team as the leader if you're sitting in a corner reading Dostoevsky. You know what I'm saying? And that may be an indictment on intelligence, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? You've got to be the rah-rah, come on, let's go, guys, kind of player to be a leader and to uplift other players. Kareem didn't give a damn about anybody. He was aloof. He didn't get along with Magic for like a year or two. You know, he didn't realize it until he realized that this child is going to put some rings on my fingers. Let me get along with this boy. But, you know, there's the famous story the first night against the Clippers where Kareem makes a skyhook from the free throw line, and Magic grabs him and won't let him go. And Kareem says, son, that's the first of 82. You can't do that. And Magic says, if you do that 81 more times, I'm going to jump in your arms 81 more times. You need that guy. You know what I'm saying? You don't need the guy who's the first one out the locker room to be your leader, and that was Kareem. You know what I'm saying? He'd go in the locker room, take a shower, listen to Pat, get dressed, and leave. Well, all the other guys are hanging around, shooting the crap. You know what I'm saying? Oh. Let's read a couple text messages, get into the final hour.
JD has chimed in.
JD!
Says, I'm with you, Ralph. I think it was friendly fire. A shotgun blast more than likely would have hit an extremity with at least one pellet. And the Secret Service, we know, were 0 for 5 for the shooting skills.
That, of all the things, all the people were saying he got so close, he didn't get that close. How did he put the gun together? Blah, 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 blah. The biggest thing that scares the crap out of me is that they did take 5 shots out of him, they didn't hit him. And you heard the woman that thinks that it's a hoax. She said, I thought that was funny, and she wasn't trying to be funny. She said, a black guy trying to kill the president, they didn't shoot him. I thought that was funny. But that's what worries me, because you see the video, they all pull their weapons. They took 5 shots and nobody hit this moving target. That's a little bit scary. One more. Let's get into the 5.
RB LeBron, he's more of a wuss than men's professional soccer.
I completely agree. There's no question he's a punk, and there's no question he wouldn't be as successful had he been drafted with Michael Jordan, because there's no way in the world this guy's character could have dealt with Dawkins and Maurice Lucas and Oakley and Lambeer and the guys that would just take you out because you were the man. And when I say take you out, I don't mean like hit you on the arms and knock you to the ground. I mean like full on forearm across the neck and lay your ass out. You're right. He's a total punk. But he might be the greatest of all time. Just saying. 41 years old, still going around. Final hour of the broadcast. I would stick around if I you.
Kerr Radio, AM 1230, KERN. 96.1 FM, K241CI Bakersfield, an American General Media station.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The man accused of storming the White House Correspondents Association dinner has been charged with the attempted assassination of President Trump. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports.
During a court appearance in Washington, D.C., Cole Thomas Allen was charged with attempting to assassinate President Trump at a downtown hotel during Saturday night's dinner. He also was charged with transport of a firearm and ammunition in interstate commerce and with discharging a firearm during a crime of violence. The 31-year-old Allen, who appeared in court wearing a blue jail uniform, did not enter a plea. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Wars with Iran and its proxies haven't gone according to plan for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and that could mean trouble for Israel's longest-serving prime minister, an election scheduled for later this year.
At the start of the U.S.-Israeli campaign against Iran in late February, Netanyahu said the goal was to degrade the Islamic Republic's military, eradicate its nuclear and ballistic missile programs, and create the conditions for its overthrow. While Iran's military has been badly damaged, it is still a threat to neighbors and ships in the Strait of Hormuz, and Netanyahu's other goals remain unfulfilled when a ceasefire was announced earlier this month. Netanyahu's government is in the final months of its 4-year term and is required to hold elections by the end of October. 2 opposition politicians, Naftali Bennett and Yair Lapid, announced Sunday that they would join forces in the next election. Bernie Bennett reporting.
King Charles III and Queen Camilla have made it to the White House on his first visit to the United States since he became king in 2022. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 82 points, the Nasdaq rose 50, the S&P 500 advanced 8, oil trading over $97 a barrel. More at Town Hall.
Veterans and active duty service members, when your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
Progressive
Progressive knows that boat days can come with unexpected problems.
It's been a tough Saturday on the lake. I ordered swim trunks in this orange cream color, but it's actually more orange auburn. Oh, and it's swimwear. I probably can't even return these.
If a real problem comes along, your boat's protected 24/7 with Progressive, so you can keep worrying about boater problems. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in D.C.
I'm Will Badalall.
I'm Mark.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update.
An open plea may mean he does little prison time for possessing child pornography. I'm Chris Davis. The arrest last July of Fong Hong Chun came with the discovery on his devices of thousands of images and videos depicting minors engaged in sex acts, according to Kern County prosecutors. Friday, he was allowed to enter an open plea in court, admitting to having those images. His sentencing has been set for May 22nd, with the possibility that he could receive probation and less than a year in prison. Police forensic examinations of more than 13 devices found more than 70 terabytes of those images stored in his possession. A vigil was held Sunday for 3 people killed in the wreck at the intersection of Harris Road and Summer Springs Drive, which was Thursday. While police believe that speed was a factor in that crash, and they are still looking into whether any impairment may have been involved, Turn to 23 reports that people who were there were holding signs proclaiming that safety changes should be made at the intersection to prevent any more wrecks like that one. A speeding Toyota SUV hit the back of 2 other cars in that wreck. More than 300 people showed up at the free expungement clinic that was put on this weekend, say the organizers. That educates people on how to get a criminal record clear, especially if they got that criminal record when they were young, and it's preventing them from getting a job or renting a house. It was organized by Cal State Bakersfield law students and attorneys who did it pro bono. Despite the extension of a ceasefire with Iran, gas prices have not come down all that much, and California still has the most expensive gas in the country, with Gas Buddy reporting the average price for a gallon of regular is $5.88. The cheapest you'll find it in this area is at 2 stations on Chester Avenue in Bakersfield, who are selling a gallon for $5.13 and $5.15. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Welcome to the wrestling world. In a month from now, this Hollywood Big Shot's going to give you what you want. Too late. They start shooting in a week. I'm going to make them an offer again with you.
The Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Final hour of the broadcast on this Monday. Final Monday in April. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1, AM 1230, streaming live at KERNradio.com, and the Kern Radio studios are powered by Adaptive Networks. For all your IT needs, call the folks at Adaptive Networks at 661-241-0638 or hit them online at adaptive-net.com. We still got lots to do in the final hour. Talk a little baseball, bottom of the hour. Dodgers still at home, wrapping up a 6-game homestand. The Marlins roll into town. And then we are off to Busch Stadium, one of the 8 stadiums that I can claim that I have visited. I have been to Jack Murphy, the old Jack Murphy down in San Diego. I've been to Anaheim. I've been to Dodger Stadium. I've been to Candlestick and Qualcomm, I guess it is. Is that what it is up north? Qualcomm? Whatever the new San Francisco Giant Stadium is. I've been to the old Shea Stadium. Never been to Yankee Stadium. My dad wasn't a Yankee fan. We lived in New York. Been to Busch. Been to Washington Nationals. I've been to 9. I forgot I've been to Camden Yards on our trip to the Preakness, which was recently bought up by the Kentucky Derby. by the way. Did you guys see that?
I did actually. Yeah,
That's gargantuan. Because I think what they're going to do is, if you're not a big horse fan, which I am, particularly for the Triple Crown, which gets underway, the Kentucky Derby is like in a couple of weeks. It's like the second weekend in May, I think. Yeah, but they normally run in 2-week intervals, which horses don't normally do. Horses don't run that. Not major thoroughbreds like that. They don't run that quickly between starts. And so what they're talking about doing, because they're having a problem with these owners don't even give a damn about the Triple Crown anymore. So as we saw last year, the winner of the Kentucky Derby didn't even participate in the Preakness, let alone I think they participated in the Belmont, but they skipped because it's only a 2-week interval. So what the new owners, I think, are going to do is do it in months, where they have the Kentucky Derby in May, have the Preakness in June, and not have the Belmont until July. They think that will entice more owners to stay in the Triple Crown race, which I think it will. Look, we got a high speed chase down in Los Angeles. Does a week go by where we don't have a high-speed chase?
No, but I love how they
somewhere in
call it
Los
high-speed
Angeles?
chase, and they're only going 20 miles an hour.
Yeah, where are they? What does that say up top?
North Broadway and South Avenue 24.
South Broadway. That sounds like
Lincoln
downtown.
Heights is what they're saying.
Lincoln Heights, so they're in the East LA. Okay. That looks like Edna's car, but her car already got stolen. That's an inside joke. Forget it. 842-5376, 842-KERN. So Cole Thomas Allen's sister, Evriana, is a 27-year-old journalist. She is a very accomplished journalist. She's worked for the Pew Research Center, which I use on the regular. She's worked for Cal Matters, which is a great California political news organization. And she knew about her brother's mental problems. She knew that he had purchased guns. She told the New York Post that he was spending an inordinate amount of time at the range and that he was telling her about a plan. Please stand by. I got to take this from my doctor. Always got to take it from your doctor. So, okay, thank you. But she knew what was going on with this guy, and she didn't say anything. And my point is, the reason I point out that she's a journalist, because I believe this, that if there was any profession in which you would have a sense of what's going on, because even if you're in a newsroom, even if you don't cover it, you are aware of the coverage of the number of shootings. And you've seen this play out so many times as a journalist. Oh, he's a really nice guy, and he came from good parents, and blah, 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 blah. That's what I'm saying. If anybody could have spotted this, you would think it would be a journalist. You know what I'm saying? Like if my nephew started acting crazy, my experience as a journalist and in the communication business and having to monitor and talk about these shootings and being aware of the constant nature of this, that if my nephew started showing signs of, and they're very typical. It's not as if you have to be like a shrink or something to recognize the symptoms. They're pretty apparent. You know, they kind of withdraw from society. And I'm sorry, this isn't a judgment thing, but if you're 31 years old and you're living with your parents, you've withdrawn from society. That is a withdrawal. You don't have a friend that you could split an apartment with? Like, this guy had a decent job. He was teacher of the year. He's got a master's degree. He's more educated than I am. And he's 31 years old living with his mom and his daddy? Which tells you a couple of things. Number one, he ain't having sex. Probably not. Not living with your mom and your daddy. And who wants to date a 31-year-old who's living with their mom and their daddy? So he doesn't have a woman, doesn't have any kind of social life, can't bring somebody back to the pad, frustrated, angry, upset at this administration, and clearly off his rocker. And yet, his sister says nothing. And that is part of the perfect storm that has created the violent nature of the 21st century, that families just aren't willing to say, look, my son, my nephew, my daughter has issues, and they have weapons. They have access to weapons. That's got to set off bells and whistles. That's got to make you think twice about saying something to responsible authorities or just even to mental health care workers. This thing is going on and on and on. He's down in Highland Park from Lincoln Heights. I'm watching this vehicle pursuit down in Southern California.
Picked up the 40.
And he's picking up, and he's in residential areas. That's what's scary. It is a miracle that very rarely does somebody get injured in these things. You know what I mean? Like just citizens in the neighborhood.
Yeah, just
kids
minding their own business.
Riding a bike. Yeah.
People are incredibly mindful of other cars and stuff like that too. While they're doing this type of stuff.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we'll check the board again. And the Rebecca Grossman civil trial is underway. She is the affluent wife of Peter Grossman, a kid I went to high school with, who took over his dad's very famous burn unit. His dad's burn unit became famous because of one celebrity. Mr. Burnett, can you name that 20th century burn victim that made the Grossman Burn Center a national treasure, really?
National treasure.
20th century burn victim celebrity.
Michael?
Probably the most famous. Ooh, that's not a bad guess. I forgot about the Pepsi commercial. No, this is the most famous burn victim in the history of Hollywood.
Oh, I'm drawing a blank on this one.
Mr. Pryor. When
that's right.
When Richard set himself on fire, he was taken to the Grossman Burn Center right there on Ventura Boulevard, right down the street from the Buckley School, where Peter and I both matriculated. That's what put him on the map. Peter took it over from his dad once his dad passed away. And his no-good wife was cheating on him with Scott Erickson, former Dodger. They were day drinking at a bar in a very posh area of Los Angeles. And they decided to race home. Well, it got pretty tragic after that. I'll explain when we come back. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on a Monday, right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, where we stream live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.
Adaptive.
ERN.
Tuesday edition, Clay and Buck Show. We'll break down the absolute latest on the fallout from yet another assassination attempt on President Trump. All of the court procedures, everything that is progressing there. The absolute latest on the battles with Iran. Is the Strait going to open up? How are things going there? All that and more. You won't want to miss it. Tuesday edition, Clay and Buck.
Live at 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
If you're a business person and you're not concerned about your IT, you're probably not a very good business person, because IT, taking care of IT right now is a big, big item on business people's list. Because now, as we've talked about constantly, there are scammers out there that can absolutely hijack all of your codes, all of your information, keep it hostage, come to you and say, Ralph, if you don't pay us $50,000, we're going to spread all your codes and all your information to all your other rival radio stations. But it's the folks at Adaptive Networks that can prevent that. And on top of being able to prevent, if your information does get stolen, the folks at Adaptive Networks have the capabilities of retrieving that for you. That's why you should call them today at 661-241-0638. That's 661-241-0638. Take your IT seriously and get on board with the team that keeps us on the air, Adaptive Networks. Hit them online at adaptive-net.com or call them at 661-241-0638.
Meet Paul Sheldon's client, Dr. Roland Rodriguez.
Hello, this is Bakersfield General Surgeon Dr. Roland Rodriguez, client and friend of Mr. Paul Sheldon. It is my great pleasure and privilege to relate to all of you my absolute exemplary experience with Team Paul Sheldon. I have also referred a number of my colleagues to Paul Sheldon's office, only to receive the most stellar feedback from my doctor friends regarding the office's expert navigation through the complex maze that is Medicare. And even though Paul Sheldon himself is now facing some temporary health challenges, his longstanding and most experienced and expertly trained team of ladies, Christine, Kelly, and Lynn, continue to masterfully guide the clients through the complicated world of Medicare. You most definitely could not possibly do any better than to reach out to Paul Sheldon several months before turning 65. Thank you.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298.
Support comes from Amazon Business. Unlock smart business buying with fast, free delivery on millions of items and practical AI innovations that automate repetitive tasks so you can make smarter decisions faster. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Giving your liver a spring cleaning is easy with Active Liver from New Nordic, the delicious daily detox that will keep you feeling your best. Search for Active Liver by New Nordic on Amazon or pick up some at your local CVS, Wegmans, or GNC.
O'Reilly.
Check engine, ABS, or maintenance light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. The service is free and provides a report with solutions verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we could recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Suspicion in your eyes. Here we go again. Asking where I've been. You can't see the tears are real, I'm crying.
One of the reasons that I have a problem with critics criticizing the Jackson bio, and Rick Bentley is one of them, to be blunt. I didn't hear any outcry about the Elvis biopic. You do know that Priscilla was 14 years old when he started dating her, right? You do know that, right? I mean, that's been in all the papers. Jerry Lee Lewis married his teenage cousin. Dennis Quaid played him. I don't remember hearing one critic saying, well, they didn't really get into the fact that he was sleeping with his cousin who happened to be 14 years old. Or I didn't hear anybody say Elvis was sleeping with Priscilla at 14, but they didn't play that up in the film. I didn't hear any of that. And I think there is an inherent unseen and unfelt bias toward the Jackson family because they are a weird family. And I don't think it's because they're black. I really don't. I think it's because they're weird. You want to know how weird they are? Randy and Jermaine married the same woman and both had kids with her. That's off the chart weird. The two brothers, who happen to be brothers, sorry, I love that, married the same gal and had children with them. So, Chris, what does that make their kids?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out right now.
Are they cousins?
Brothers, sisters,
half
whatever.
brothers, half cousins? That's just nasty.
That's gross.
And how does she deal with that? That she just went from brother to brother?
I don't even know if you could really call it a half brother because it's the same blood.
I mean, that's as bizarre as Dolores Huerta.
Yeah, I could not tell you where that goes, to be honest with you. That's that whole first cousin, second cousin thing. I couldn't tell you.
Dolores Huerta slept with Caesar, according to her, forcefully. But I've got to assume that since there were 2 incidents of forceful, there had to be some consensual sex. And then she married his brother. And she married his brother while Caesar was still alive. So she married his brother with her rape suspect in the room. That's even weirder than the Jacksons. And then didn't raise the 2 kids. She sent them off to other family members and only recently made them aware that she was their biological mother. Life is weird as hell. But I still think that Joe Jackson gets a bad rap. I really do. I really, really do. Meantime, we've got some more audio from this weekend. This is Aisha Hasni. She is a Fox reporter who was there that night, Saturday night, and she talks about access, the chaos, and what absolutely shocked her.
You walk up to the hotel and some of the streets are closed. You're asked to flash your ticket. Okay, you might have a fake ticket, who knows? They let you in onto the property. You walk right into the building. There are no mags when you walk into the building. Nobody asks you, are you here for the dinner? Are you a guest? Nothing. And you waltz right into the pre-parties. You know, Fox had a pre-party and I walked right in. Nobody asked me anything. And there are cabinet secretaries at these pre-parties. In fact, the Speaker of the House was my guest at the Fox pre-party, and he was there with his security detail. There are a ton of important people in these rooms. And then when it's time to go into the dinner, you go through the mags finally, and they're right outside the doors of the ballroom. So that is the only time, you know, we're asked to go through a metal detector. They check our purses and bags, and then we're allowed in. Look, there's going to be a whole investigation. There's going to be conversations about venues and security, you know, the Secret Service, and they had a job to do to protect the president. And I think they did that. They secured the ballroom that he was in. He wasn't anywhere else in the building. But the rest of the building, I mean, anybody could have walked in and walked around. It was still open. It's a hotel. It's open for business. You can't ask a hotel to shut down for one night for the White House Correspondents Association. It's not going to happen. And I think what you have to think about is I traveled with the president a lot during the campaign trail. I covered him before Butler, after Butler. There were changes made after Butler. But I remember one night I stayed at a hotel that the vice president, then Kamala Harris, was staying at, and they had locked it down. I mean, you could not get into the hotel unless you went through a mag right at the front entrance. And, you know, they took it very seriously. I don't know why the protocol is different from a president or a vice president staying the night at a hotel or just visiting a hotel. I think there's going to have to be conversations. If a hotel is a future venue, I don't know that it's going to be. You know, the president certainly doesn't feel comfortable. I think he said that it may not be the right venue.
Okay, all right,
but
that's
if it's
enough. You know, the hotel isn't the issue. The idea that the residents of the hotel were allowed to come and go without having to go through a metal detector is crazy. The fact that employees were able to come and enter the hotel without going through a metal detector is nuts. There are only so many exits and entrances to a hotel. And on a night like that, you could really limit the number of exits and entrances. You don't have to shut down the hotel. She's absolutely right. There's no hotel in DC that's going to shut down for an entire night. You can't do that. How the hell are you going to tell somebody they can't stay for 4 nights because one of the nights we're going to be shut down? That's insane. But you can limit the number of exits and entrance, and you can put metal detectors up there, which is bizarre. But again, let me not imply that I'm criticizing the Secret Service, because this cat was nowhere near the president. He was not even on the same level that the president was on, that the banquet room was on. The banquet room was sunken downstairs. We have to take escalators to get down. And that's the way most of the hotels are back in DC, having stayed in at least 7 or 8 times of the last 10 years. The banquet rooms are normally in the basement of the hotel. You have to take either an elevator or an escalator to go down, and they have different banquet rooms on different levels of the hotel. But nothing is just done in the lobby or on the first floor. But the idea that you could come and go into the hotel at all and not go through a metal detector, that you could be on the property with a gun and be carrying it as he obviously was, is insane. Or just the fact that you could check in, because he obviously checked in with the weapons. You're telling me that there is an event going on Saturday where the entire United States government is essentially going to be there, and they did no precautions in terms of, maybe on Thursday, Friday, start monitoring the guests that are checking in? It's crazy. And there has to be a re-examination of the Secret Service, because this isn't the first F-up they've had. I mean, Butler was a joke, was an absolute joke, that there were people that recognized the kid and that they didn't have that section of that area cordoned off, or a Charlie Kirk situation. I mean, I don't know. These people pay a lot of money for a lot of security. As she made reference, the Speaker of the House was her guest, as we know from dealing with Kevin. Even when he wasn't the Speaker, he had a detail. When he was the minority leader, he had 3 or 4 agents with him. And you had the entire U.S. government in that room. And yet you could walk into the hotel and go to some of the parties. You just couldn't get to the banquet room. That's not acceptable. That's not acceptable. I mean, if it's the president, okay, but it's the president, it's the vice president, it's the speaker. The president pro tem was there. Like the first 5, 6 members of the line of succession was there. You had to have, if a bomb goes off, the damn Secretary of Agriculture might be the President of the United States. It's nuts. Final half hour of the broadcast on this Monday. Still got lots to do. We'll talk a little baseball. Talk about Rebecca Grossman's civil trial that just got underway on the Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, streaming live at KernRadio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
News. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The man who authorities say tried to storm the White House Correspondents Association dinner with guns and knives was charged Monday with the attempted assassination of President Trump, as federal authorities suggested an attack that disrupted one of Washington's glitziest events had been planned for at least several weeks. King Charles III and Queen Camilla have made their way to the White House. The British royal couple arrived in the United States on Monday afternoon on a 4-day state visit aimed at celebrating the United States' 250th anniversary. President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump welcomed them to the White House for tea. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 82 points. The Nasdaq rose 50. The S&P advanced 8. Oil trading near $97 a barrel. This is SRN News.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Headlines from the KERN Newsroom.
I'm Chris Davis. A man who admits that he had thousands of images of child pornography on 13 devices that were searched last July when he was busted is set to be sentenced May 22nd. With a plea deal where Fong Hong Chun pleaded no contest Friday, he may get a minimal sentence of less than a year in prison and probation on the state charges. A vigil was held this weekend for the 3 people killed in a wreck Thursday at Harris Road and Summer Springs Drive. Some of the people who were there brought signs saying that changes need to be made at that intersection for safety's sake. Police believe that speed was a factor in the crash and are still looking into whether drugs or alcohol may have been involved. The average price for gas in California is $5.88 per gallon of regular today, says Gas Buddy. The national average is $4.07. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Experience the Bakersfield Symphony, The Great Classics, Saturday, April 11th at Dignity Health Theater. The evening begins with Don Giovanni Overture by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. From there, Florence Price's Andante Moderato offers a moment of lyrical warmth, showcasing her rich, expressive voice through the lush sound of the string orchestra. The program concludes with Joseph Haydn's Triumphant Symphony No. 104, London, a joyful and spirited finale that reflects the wit, brilliance, and grandeur. These classical favorites are brought to life by the Bakersfield Symphony Orchestra. For more info, go to bsonow.org.
Trucordia, a new name but a trusted partner for Kern County businesses. At Trucordia, we provide business solutions that include comprehensive commercial insurance and proactive risk strategies to help protect your company and keep operations running smoothly. We also offer benefit solutions with flexible options for both businesses and individuals, supported by easy online tools and hands-on local service that makes everything simpler. For guidance you can count on, call Don Coons at 661-401-2280. Trucordia, building trust.
First Look with Scott Cox, mornings 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Tuesday edition of the First Look program, we'll be without the services of Lois Henry from sjvwater.org. She has an event to attend. We have the latest from the White House Correspondents' Dinner fiasco, all the state-of-the-art news, traffic, and weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230.
Six eight four two KERN. Anything left on the board?
Yeah, we got a couple.
What do you got?
San Diego is now Petco for baseball.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it's actually really nice.
The old Jack Murphy Stadium. Jack Murphy, an old-time announcer for the San Diego Padres. I don't like the way they've got that situated where it's like all downtown and the airport is right there. I've never been a fan of San Diego. I'm the one human being that doesn't like San Diego.
I love San Diego.
I don't know why. We used to go down there all the time when I was a kid. The only good thing that I remember about San Diego was the Shamu, SeaWorld, and the Safari. Those are the only good things about San Diego.
True.
And they had a really good pitch and putt course at this place we used to stay at called Pinewood. It was a little pitch and putt course I used to play. What else you got?
A couple people have chimed in saying that a shotgun does not just have spread rounds; they also have slug rounds, which would be more of like a central thing.
But apparently, according to the reports, this were pellets. I know a little bit about shotguns, and somebody was saying, I think it was Mary was saying that the reason that they got J.D. Vance before they got the president because the president, and I saw the 60-minute interview where he said, well, that was kind of because of me. But if you watch the video, you're right. They come and talk to the president, and he says, no, and then they finally get him to leave. But they've picked up JD before they even go talk to the president. Go look back at the video at the end of the dais where the guy grabs Vance by the shoulder. And if you look down the table, there's not an agent that's talking to the president yet. And they have already grabbed Vance. Because again, I heard the 60-minute interview where the president said, well, because Nora asked him about that, the CBS reporter asked him about that, and he said, well, it's kind of my fault because I didn't want to leave. I didn't want this guy to win. I didn't want this thing to go, I want this thing to go on. But if you look closely, the first agent contacts Vance, and there's no agent down the rest of the table talking with the president. So it is still unanswered as to why. Maybe just proximity. I don't know. Because Vance was at the far right end of the table. The president was in the center of the table. Maybe they were coming from the wings, and since he was the first dignitary and he is first in line in secession, they just grabbed him before they could reach the president. I don't know, but if you look closely, they absolutely approached Vance before they approached the president. But I don't know. Just the fact they had 2,000 people in that room goes to show you that they gave these guys a pass. What the hell's going on now? Is he running? Is that the
It's got to be
our man?
He had to have probably bailed on the car.
He bailed on the car and took it on foot somewhere in Lincoln Heights. Well, that's worse to be on foot because you know what's going to happen if he's on foot.
Dogs.
Damn Skippy.
Dogs.
They going to let the dogs loose. Who let the dogs out? L-A-P-D. Who let the dogs out? L-A-P-D. Shoot. Are you kidding? You don't be running from the cops. Really, because they'll be like, screw it. Go get him, Chinga. Shoot. Can you imagine being bitten by a police dog? Because that sucker has been trained not to let go.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What else you got?
Ralph, did you forget that Tanner Scott blew a game Friday night and Saturday and Sunday were blowouts? So no pressure pitching.
I was at dinner Friday night and I didn't find out that they lost. This cat's about to get away, dude. This guy is about to get away. He's like amongst people now. We're following this high-speed chase, and the guy bailed, and they've got a sight on him, so I guess he can't get away.
I was about to say he can't get away.
Yeah, but what were we just talking about?
Tanner Scott.
Oh yeah.
Blowing the lead Friday.
I didn't know it was like Sunday, because I thought we were going for a sweep, and Joe Davis said, and the Dodgers blew a 4-0 lead. Because when I was at dinner, because it wasn't on Sportsnet, and at Bill Lee's, they have Apple Pay, but they couldn't get it for some reason. So it went off, and they were leading 4-0. So I assumed we won. So no, I did not know that he blew the save. Did he really?
Apparently.
I did not know that. I don't know if that would have changed my opinion. I guess it would to some degree. God, you can tell they're in the ghetto. See the fences? Every business has a fence. That is so sad. And now that's the way our downtown is. There are very few. Hell, Steve Ratty across the street from me.
Yeah, he's got up a fence now.
It's like, God. I guess it's better than permanent glass fixing in your budget.
I still gotta go over there and get new glasses too. I haven't done that yet.
From Ratty?
Yeah.
He's your guy?
Yeah, he's been my guy for years. So
you know, I got a personal beef with him.
No, you've explained this to me before. Oh no, I was here when you did it, when he convinced you to buy the tickets, the tickets,
my glasses right before I had my surgery on my eyes.
You didn't need them anymore.
So I paid $150 for some glasses and my copay for the appointment for absolutely nothing because I was having my cataract surgery 2 weeks later. And my cataract surgeon was like, what? You just got glasses? And the optometrist didn't tell you that they'd be worthless after you had the surgery? And I was like, no, he didn't. Son of a gun. And they leave their lights on all night long. I don't know why we do that.
Deter people from staying under.
I guess, but God, that's a lot of money. His lights never go off. Oh, this guy's finally succumbing. He's putting his arms up, and they're going to force him to the ground here in just a second.
Found him.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be shot, and he
Oh, they
figures,
pulled right up on him. There's like 3 cop cars right there.
yeah, in East LA, and they got him on the ground finally. All right, that's a good thing. Let's go ahead and take our final break of the day. When we come back, you'll hear from Todd Blanche, the acting attorney general. You'll hear from a very shaken up Wolf Blitzer who was right next to the shooter as he was firing rounds. And a bizarre episode of audio from the bathroom in which Mr. Blitzer was being sequestered along with 14 others. And tomorrow's a Tuesday. I am efforting an interview with Humberto Sala to fill in for the final day for Teresa Goldner, who's on her Asian persuasion excursion. She's in Hong Kong and Japan and China. China. It's got the China virus. She'll be back with us the following Tuesday. But in the meantime, you're listening to the Ralph Bailey Show. Keep it locked. Scott Jennings coming up at the top of the hour. Right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio.
Hi. Luigi's.
Luigi's?
Yeah.
We'll break down the absolute latest on the fallout from yet another assassination attempt on President Trump. All of the court procedures, everything that is progressing there. The absolute latest on battles with Iran. Is the Strait going to open up? How are things going there? All that and more. You won't want to miss it. Tuesday edition. Play and talk.
Live at 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
As I told you guys at the top of the show, I had a really good weekend. The only thing that saddened me was my Saturday lunch at Luigi's got canceled. You know, Luigi's restaurant in Old World Delicatessen is one of the few restaurants in our community where it is an actual event. It really is. I mean, I was looking forward to this Saturday afternoon at Luigi's all week long, and it actually really upset my weekend that it didn't happen. I mean, it is an event, particularly on the weekends, on a Friday, Saturday. It's an absolute fashion show. All the ladies come in their best attire. You see at least 1, 2, 4 people that you know. And it's just great to be able to see the Valpredo family, to see Tonya and Lynette and Gino and the incredible crew, which is like family. And again, as I always talk about with these spots, there's not much I can tell you about Luigi's restaurant that you don't already know. It's been generations and generations, over 120 years in service, and it is the single most iconic restaurant in Kern County. Where would you rather be than at Luigi's Restaurant and Old World Delicatessen, longtime sponsors of the Ralph Bailey Show?
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities.
Want to bust out the promo real quick? Whenever you're ready.
Three, two. My only criticism of the Secret Service isn't the fact that how close the proximity that the guy got to the president, because he wasn't that close. My issue with the Secret Service is he went running by them. They took 5 shots at him, and they all missed. In fact, I think they hit the agent that was struck with gunfire. 3, 2. It's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Tuesday TRBS. Well, we're still trying to fill Teresa Goldner's spot with a local attorney, so we'll do that at 3:30, and we'll have more on the Saturday night shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner and the latest on Epic Fury. All that and me at 3. It's TRBS. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. We're streaming live at kernradio.com. I'll see you at 3.
Make the nightmare go away. CSBK can stop the harassment, get rid of the balances, maybe even get your car payment reduced, and get you reset in the right financial direction for a fraction of the time and money of a debt settlement program. A Chapter 7 BK takes about 6 months, and at the end, the financial straws will be off your back. Log on to CSBK.com and read what real people just like you have to say about what CSBK has done for them. This is an attorney advertisement. Your results may vary, and prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome. Clean Slate BK Group PC, located at 2300 Westwood Boulevard, Suite 105, Los Angeles, California 90064, is responsible for the content of this ad. For more information, visit CSBK.com. That's CSBK.com to end your financial nightmares.
Clay Travis and Buck Sexton, live at 9 a.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
The weekend that I'll play tomorrow regarding Mr. Jackson. It was all over the weekend because of the premiere, biggest box office premiere of a biopic in the history of motion pictures. And it's some classic audio. There's one of him being interviewed by Oprah Winfrey, and she asks him if he's a virgin, which is just a crazy question to ask somebody. But I guess back in those days, and I guess because it was Michael, it was okay. But we'll play some of that for you tomorrow. In the meantime, recapping our top story, Cole Thomas Allen was charged with 3 different counts. There'll be additional counts from Janine Pirro, the U.S. attorney, coming up later in the week. But right now, he stands accused of attempting to assassinate the president, discharging a firearm during a violent crime, and transporting a firearm and ammunition in interstate commerce. And again, the question that I have is, how did they not hit him? How did they fire 5 times and not hit the friendly federal assassin, as he alludes to himself in his, what we've now deemed their manifesto? I don't know why we prop these guys up with these cute little titles, their manifesto. His last statement to his family, there's no manifesto, wasn't, breaking down his life beliefs. And even if it was, I just think it props them up to give it like a title. Like, here's the last thing he had to say. You know what I'm saying? Why do journalists have to get involved and put titles on things and prop people up? And that's why there are copycatters, because they know they're going to be national figures. And they know that whatever they final write will be read by everybody. Hell, I read the damn manifesto. You know what I'm saying? And maybe we should play that down. Maybe we shouldn't know so much about these people. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, the bottom line is, and it gets back to, the constant cliches that we use on this show, and that is that we are involved in a massive pandemic that health officials, political officials, and even families are completely ignoring. And the latter part is the worst. The fact that the families are ignoring the fact that they have a psycho underneath their roof who is potentially dangerous not only to others, but to himself. And they're saying nothing. They're absolutely unwilling to rat out their own kids or their own relatives. And that's part of the issue. And I understand it, because it must be incredibly difficult to look at Rob Reiner. I mean, you know what their friends are saying now? That this kid was a POS when he was 7 years old. That they should have given up on him years and years and years ago. But he was 32 years old, living with his mama and daddy. Like, don't you understand? That is more than an economic statement. That is a character statement where you've been unwilling to get out in society. Chris is 31 years old. He's not making a ton of money, but he's got roommates. He could easily be living the life of luxury, living with his parents. But that would be an indication to his friends and everybody else that he's kind of given up. But he's not a grown-ass man. He's still a child living in his parents' home. That's what I'm saying. It's bigger than just an economic issue. And in particular, when you've got a master's degree, you've got a great job, and you're still living with your parents, that you prefer to live with your parents, isn't that a form of mental retardation? And I don't mean in the sense of retarded like the way we used to refer to retarded. I mean the verb to restrict or to stop, to retard your maturation process. Because as far as I'm concerned, and I'm no doctor, quite obviously, but somewhere I read or somewhere I experienced that part of the maturation process is to get away from your bees. Do your own damn laundry. Go open your own damn fridge and find some eggs and some bacon and some toast. You know what I'm saying? That's part of the maturation process. And when you're 31, maybe as a female, you can get away with that. Daddy's girl, staying close to home with the peas, not out of the clubs and hanging out and bringing boys home. Maybe, not even, I don't even think that's true anymore. But if you're 31 years old, you are maturationally, if that's such a word, retarded. Your growth, your maturation growth has stopped. And so that should be an indicator. We can't get our 30-year-old out of the house. What's he making? What, 30, 40 grand? He's making about 80, 90 grand. He's got a master's degree in mechanical engineering and a degree in computer science. And he's still eating mama's food. Don't make no sense. Just don't make no sense. 842-5376, 842-K. All right, anything left?
Yes, got a couple.
What do you got?
You haven't mentioned the time travel theory.
What is the time travel theory?
This one I'm not sure.
I don't know what the time travel theory.
traveler.
Well, I know that he left the South Bay for Chicago on a train, and then he took a train from Chicago to Washington. He checked it. I beg your pardon. I've got enough gas to drive to Lawson. He checked in on the 24th. We know that. 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Other than that, I don't know any allusion to time and what that has to do with the assassination attempt. But, okay. What else you got?
Somebody please tell Trump and MAGA the real saying is assassins only kill the good ones. So he's got nothing to worry about.
Yeah, I thought some of the comments that he made after the attempt were, what's the word I'm looking for? Redonkulous. That they only go after the good ones. They only go after the ones that are doing something. That's about as dumb a thing as I've ever heard. There's no pattern to the 4 assassinations, Garfield, McKinley, Lincoln, and Kennedy. There's no connection. I mean, there's the obvious connections between Kennedy and Lincoln. I'm sure we all grew up with that, 1860s, 1960s. Kennedy's secretary was named Mrs. Lincoln. Lincoln's secretary was Mrs. Kennedy. Kennedy was Lincoln was shot in a theater, and Booth was found in a warehouse. Booth, I'm mixing up my assassins. Oswald shot from a warehouse and was found in a movie theater. And they're all kind of the Lincoln, the Continental. They're all kind of comparisons. But other than that, other than just the weird facts, there's no connections to any of the 4 assassinations or any of the assassination attempts. Teddy Roosevelt had an assassination attempt when he was running for office in 1912, where he didn't win. Gerald Ford, who you could argue was not a very effective president. I thought he was a decent president. He made the mistake of pardoning Richard Nixon, which I thought was the right thing to do, but politically it killed him. But he lost to Jimmy Carter. And he had like back-to-back assassination attempts, I think within the same month, with Squeaky Fromm up in San Francisco, and then another one like a couple of weeks later. And you couldn't say that Gerald Ford was an effective president, not in the short time that he had. And his campaign against Carter was horrible, and he lost. So that theory that Trump is espousing, that assassins only go after the good ones or the guys that are doing something, is Trump being Trump. It really is. Although I will say this, I thought he was magnanimous. You know, he was very kind to the chairperson of the event, Mei Wing, who is a CBS reporter. I've got some audio from her that I didn't get to play as well, of her going at it with the president during COVID when she was a CBS reporter. But I thought he handled that well, and it talked about the spirit of the evening and how he wants this thing to go on and not let the shooter win, so to speak. I don't think they're going to reset it. I don't think so. I really don't. You have to. There are a lot of people in that room with a lot of busy schedules, and to think that you can find in the next 30 days a Saturday where all those people can clear it out and get a gown and that, no, I don't think so. I really don't think so. Two more, and let's get out of here.
The Unabomber wrote a manifesto. This was more of a social media musing.
Yeah.
M-U-S-I-N-G-S.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we should give these things titles. I think as little, the information that we need to know, we should know, like their history, who they hung out with, what they read, that kind of thing. But in terms of giving them credit for anything they leave behind, in their legacy and their manifesto, no. I think that just props them up and makes them more of a celebrity. One more, and I am hoofing it.
He was teacher of the month, not teacher of the year.
Whatever. He was credited as an outstanding teacher for whatever period of time. The point being that he was smart and he could obviously get along with people. And it goes to show that we have lost a generation somehow, some way, because this guy was a good guy, according to all the standards of American society. No criminal record, educated, wanting to help society, and yet he still has the ability to snap, and we still don't have the ability to point it out. That is the issue, because mental health and the lack thereof isn't going to go away. It's a matter of, are we willing to stand up and point it out? Want to thank Greg Kerr for joining us. If you did not hear that, go to YouTube and check that out, along with Kathy Abernathy. Tomorrow, we'll have an attorney at 3:30. That's all I can tell you. In the meantime, for Chris Burdick, I'm Ralph Bailey. That's what's really going on. I'll wrap you tomorrow.
Kerr Radio, AM 1230, KERN. 96.1 FM, K241CI, Bakersfield, an American General Media station.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump and the First Lady are both calling for ABC to fire late-night host Jimmy Kimmel. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports.
The First family is upset with Kimmel after a joke last week described the First Lady as having the glow of an expectant widow. Kimmel's comedy routine was delivered 2 nights before an armed man tried to enter a hotel ballroom dinner attended by the President, First Lady, and Vice President. Melania Trump wrote online that people like Kimmel shouldn't have the opportunity to enter our homes each evening to spread hate. And the president posted a message saying Kimmel should be immediately fired by Disney and ABC. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Emergency services respond after Russia strikes civilian import infrastructure in Odessa and other regions of Ukraine.
Russian forces launched a massive overnight attack on residential neighborhoods and civilian infrastructure in the southern Ukrainian port city of Odessa, the regional head says, wounding at least 14 people, including 2 children, in the latest barrage of civilian areas that have been a hallmark of Moscow's full-scale invasion. Marina Averina from the State Emergency Service of Ukraine in Odessa says Russia has again attacked Odessa in large numbers with strike drones. She adds the housing sector suffered significant damage. Flats in a 3-story apartment building were destroyed. The hotel was nearly destroyed. A car parked next to it was burning. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Republicans in Congress have launched new efforts to approve and pay for President Trump's proposed ballroom at the White House. They argue it would help avert security breaches like the shooting at Saturday's White House Correspondents' Association dinner. On Wall Street, a mixed day as the Dow was down by 82 points, but the Nasdaq rose 50. The S&P 500 advanced 8. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Looking for a great real estate agent? Someone who can help you sell your home fast and for top dollar? Go to ready.com, REDY.com. Because on Ready, agents will pay you just for the opportunity to sell your home. Yeah, on Ready, agents will pay you for your listing. Thousands of dollars up front just for a chance to sell your home. And it's easy. Just go to ready.com, enter your address,